Well, 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 look who it is. You again. Back for more, are you skeevy little voyeuristic board gaming pervs? I know you're out there listening, watching, scheming, starting your own podcast, laughing behind our backs as you siphon off our entire listener base. I'm not talking about anyone specific, Ben M. Ken. So it's been a while since my last monologue, 2 weeks in fact. And in that time, things have gone from terribly depressing to downright horrifying. Have you heard about the murder hornets?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning haven't started a crime syndicate.
Nice.
These are gigantic flying daggers that decapitate poor defenseless honeybees and then take the carcasses back to their nests for some weird, erotic, devil-worshipping, nightmarish, pornographic hellscape. Seriously, why were these things created if not just to strike fear in the heart of every wuss with an internet connection? That's me. Why can't we be hearing about some new strain of bunny that just spoons squirrels at night when they've had a hard day? Or like a bird that whistles songs from the White Album or something? Why is it always the most absolutely terrifying thing of all time? I, for one, am sick of it. And so how about we all just pop some Xanax and talk about board games for the next 2 hours or so? We are the cure for your early onset hypertension. We are the cure for your desire to listen to people talk about niche luxury items that nobody needs. Let us heal you back to normalcy while we regale you with games we've played, shows we've watched, and other crap that has no actual value in the real world other than to make you forget about the real world, which is in itself valuable. So please, sit back and yell into the void as we beat down your favorite game. Don't talk about that game you were hoping we would talk about in our top 5. And make fools of ourselves in the game of the episode. Let us free you from this prison of doom. So, Jeff, what shows have you been watching, man?
Well,
you're crazy.
I finished Ozark.
Me too.
Which was really good.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil anything.
I know,
no, that's okay. I saw the first episode, so I'm caught up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
No.
you're
Of season
good.
1.
Yeah, I thought season
yeah.
3 was my favorite season. I loved it.
Yeah, it ramped up quick at
Yeah, the end.
season 3. I know. Did you hear that?
Is it the best? Yeah. Is that a hiccup? Are you hiccuping?
No,
almost?
that was like a
It's
gasp.
close. Well, don't do
It
that.
was
'Cause
like
maybe
a-
that induces the hiccups. Before the show started, Natalie had a hiccup
yeah.
attack that I can only describe as like 10 screaming banshees. Just barreling
My
down the
hiccups are
basement.
very loud. If I don't hold them inside, they're just like super annoying loud.
No, I don't care that much.
Man. I also watched, we're going to go into Mr. Robot.
Yes.
So we got season 4 left.
Yes.
And
Great. That's
then
such a great show.
yeah, we also just watched it on Hulu, but it's on FX called Devs, DEVS.
Like developers?
Yes.
Yes.
I heard of that.
Like development. Yeah, developer. It's got Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson.
Yeah, Ron
Yeah.
Swanson.
And-
Ronson.
Which is hard to see him in anything other than Parks and Rec being Ron Swanson, but it's really good. It's like sci-fi. It's I don't want to spoil anything, but like basically this dude like kind of goes missing, and it's this girlfriend who's trying to figure out what's going on in this crazy tech company, and
Okay.
it's really good.
Cool.
Devin and I really liked it. We
I'll
kind of
have to write
cruised
that
through it
down.
in about 2 or 3 days. It's only
Nice.
and what's nice is it's done. Like it was 8 episodes and it's done.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a limited thing. It was
Devs.
over. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, Devs.
There's another
weird.
one I haven't watched it yet, but some of my friends told me it's really good called Upload on Amazon Prime.
Amazon.
It's created by Greg Daniels, who did The Office.
That's
And
cool. Sounds
Sounds like he's like, yeah, they're in some like virtual reality like world. that they,
I've heard good
plug
things.
into or something like that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I saw the intro to it on Amazon Prime the
Oh,
other
you
day.
did?
Like I was just flipping through, how you just flip through and you never, there's like a
Yeah.
million things to watch, but
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
never land on one. That was one of them. And I didn't realize it was a Greg Daniels show.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've done The Office,
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Well, I don't know if Greg Daniels did
Oh,
Parks and
Mike
Rec.
sure did.
Mike
Parks and
sure
Rec.
did. And he did Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, it's really
I
funny.
heard that's
I
really
know
funny.
Mike Schur
That's
did.
another Mike Schur show.
He did The Good Place
A
too.
Mike Schur show. The Good
Yeah,
Place.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine's great. It's really funny.
That's cool. So we finally, everybody out there, Jeff, Natalie, me, Donkey Kong Madigan,
Oh.
and
Deepwater.
Joe. Yeah, we finally got on to Tabletop Simulator, and we played a game of Forgotten Waters together.
Yes,
Our
we
first
did.
virtual game with other people.
I had the best time doing it. I don't know about you. I kind of want to find out, Jeff, how you felt about it. I know the game was long, but it was so fun, right?
It was
It was
long, but
really
it
fun.
fun.
It gave me like a little tiny bit of sense of like normality where it was like, oh, this was cool. It kind of, obviously nothing matches us just like hanging out and sitting together, but this was a close equivalent.
Yeah.
It was cool to just like be able to laugh and joke and then look at the board and then go back to Zoom and watch us like reacting to funny things.
And
And
while they're reading
watching
the script.
me and Jeff were pantomiming literally everything that
Oh,
came
yeah, it
out
was
of
ridiculous.
the app's mouth. And I mean, that's
And I don't
just
know
what we would do normally.
yeah, I don't know if anybody was actually watching it other than maybe the
I was
two of us.
I was
it.
watching it
funny.
the whole time.
Yeah,
I took
watching.
a short video of one.
Oh, boy.
part.
Yeah, maybe we'll put that on a story.
And with the tabletop, I've never done that before. So I never did tabletop or Tabletopia, and I didn't realize that it's not like an app. Like it's not like the thing runs the game for you.
Nope,
Like you have to run
manipulate
the
everything.
game.
It's like you're at the table.
Yeah, which I think is kind of cool. It was tough to get used to, just like the controls and how to like, move and zoom in and check things out. But once you kind of get the hang of that, it was cool.
Yeah, but let me tell you something.
Yeah,
I've played Tabletop Simulator a bunch over the years, and you guys, I was so surprised. So I was kind of like, okay, this first play is going to take forever because I have to teach, Jeff, Dave, and Joe all how to use Tabletop Simulator. You guys caught on instantly, to your credit, and I was like, oh my god, they basically get it, right? I mean, you're all three young people who know about computers, so it's not like it's that difficult, but still that system can be a little cumbersome when you're first getting the hang of it. It's just weird, like anything you're learning that's new. But I don't know, to your credit, I thought we were up and running really quickly.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a blast. I'm ready to do the second part of that mission.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was all saved and ready to go for us. So we played Forgotten Waters. We talked about that last episode, and God, that game is so fun. I felt the exact same. I felt even better about it this second play because I thought the story in this one we played, even though we only did the first part, it was even funnier and more fun. And we won't give anything away, or I won't give anything away, like I do. But there was some parts that made me laugh out loud, genuinely laugh out loud, just from the app reading to us.
Yeah, I agree. And last time we played with just 2 players. And so that meant each of us got 3 pirates to use as like workers. But this time we only had 1. And we were wondering if that was going to make it boring because we were doing less in the worker placement part. But it didn't at all because I was just as invested in what you guys were doing. So it didn't matter that
you're working together.
Right.
And you get to talk about everybody's actions, kind of like, so if you take this action, we get to say like, oh, we should probably do this. We need that. And you're kind of working together. But ultimately, I didn't think there was a lot of like, all alpha gamers. I don't think that was happening. I think we all kind of talked through stuff. It was really cool.
Absolutely. And a lot of it was, here's what we can do. You make the decision. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want to do is cool. Here's how your decisions will impact the group, but it's up to you. And I think we're all good at doing that. And I read that. So there's 5 scenarios that come in the base game. This is the second scenario, Jeff, because Natalie and I played the first one.
Right.
I read that the difficulty ramps up a lot starting with the third one.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
I did feel like the first one was fairly simple.
Yeah, and so far we're having a pretty simple time with this too. But again, for this type of game, and we're talking about Forgotten Waters here, this game to me is more about the experience than the difficulty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I care more about like, oh my gosh, we're about to fight this giant shark.
Right.
Than, like oh,
Megalodon.
I don't, it's got to be hard or, easy.
Yeah.
That didn't matter to me as much. I mean, you want a challenge. Absolutely. You want a challenge. And I do think the game provides that. But anyway, it was really just fun just to play with all you guys.
Yeah, it was.
And I can't wait till we do the next one.
It was a blast.
Yeah. So Jeff, what games have you been playing, man?
Well, I played. So real quick, I got the expansion of Underwater Cities to the table.
Yes.
And I only sort of played it. So we played the game, but the expansion comes with the expansion comes with some different modules. So we didn't put all of them in there or the big one. We did play with the new boards, which are awesome. And
I hope mine are good, man. I'm really worried about that.
So I know. So we talked about it, and for some context, the board has like 3 layers. So the middle layer on Ryan's board has this like little wobble to it. So when you put the domes down, it kind of like almost like buckles or bubbles in and out. Mine also kind of does that.
Oh yeah.
It didn't bother me playing.
Okay.
Everything sat fine, unless you're sitting there like pushing it in and out, then that would probably bother you. But everything sat fine. The tunnels sat, the cities sat great. the little factories you put on the outside. Those are.
It looked like your tunnels were perfectly flush.
But yeah, they're
From
like
your pictures.
yes.
It looked, I
Yeah,
was like,
they're
this looks great.
Yeah, the tunnels are like perfect. And the cities that you put on the outside, or the metropolises you put on the outside, those are also very flush, that you're like building tunnels to, if you remember that, in the corners.
Yeah.
And that was, so the boards were just, I was pumped to play with the boards. I was also pumped to play with the 3D printed submarines
Oh, right.
That's cool.
as player pieces.
So you're
that
putting
was
those
great.
on the UN track thing or whatever?
You're putting these
that where
on,
those go?
these are your actions. So this is like, I'm putting this
okay.
on the spot that I want to take the action.
Oh, I
So
got you.
instead of
cool.
the 3 pieces of
Sure.
cardboard.
Yeah.
And when we were midway through, Devin was like, I don't even remember what we used before. I'm like, oh, they're just
I
pieces of
can't remember
cardboard.
either.
Yeah, they're just pieces of cardboard. They're dumb.
That's the way I feel about my kids. Like, I don't remember life before them. Devin feels that way about the
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
game component.
And so what we did is we played with the it's like a quick start setup sort of. So you skip the first round, and then you get a certain resource depending on what tile you take. So there's 3 tiles. Whoever is last gets picked first, and it says, all right, you get to start with an extra city and these resources.
Oh,
instead
cool.
Instead of the first round, you start with the second round. So
Right, so it ramps you up a little
Okay.
bit.
yeah,
Does that cut time
And-
off the game?
it minor. I would
Yeah.
say maybe 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And we then did. We have yet to play with the government contracts yet, so we did that as well. And everything was great. It worked really well. There was really no. Oh, we get new assistants. You remember the assistant card? It just starts. You get like a good or something like that. It's an action card you
Yes.
can take. So you get a new action card, and the action cards are different between players. So that's pretty cool. We didn't play with the big museum, which is the discoveries board. That's the whole new thing. But we
Yeah,
played
that's
with
like the big new thing.
the smaller
Yeah,
module.
ease
and
into it, baby.
yeah, and it was great. And I don't see myself playing without those ever again. I'll see what the new discoveries is when we play it. But
Yeah,
it
sure.
was a really good addition to a game I already really love. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool, man. And
I
if
wanna
that's one of your
play.
favorite
So-
games, you got to pimp that sucker out. So
We need
I
to
know.
do that.
yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
on the board, so
It's on the board.
It
It's got to
is.
get
it's
played.
one of the games that'll be played soon.
In the play
But-
again section.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to go into in depth of something else we've
Yeah,
played?
man. Let's roll it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you got?
We played a game called Charterstone a few times. And
Really?
yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah,
Charters-
we had this at one point, and then we never played it.
yeah, and I was a little leery. So because of what I've heard with it being 2 players and people not necessarily loving it with 2 players, But-
Yeah.
Charterstone is designed by, Jamie Stegmaier, and published by, of course, Stonemaier Games. So off the bat, everything's going to be really great quality. And it's a legacy game, plays up to 6 people. You can play it 12 times, and it takes about an hour a play, which is really great because sometimes with legacy games, they can get long, and then you're playing it how many times. But so an hour, 12 times, and then at the end of the game, you get your own specific special kind of worker placement game. But so it's a worker placement game where you're kind of developing a shared village. So you're on one board. Each player has a little section of that village. All those pieces are cool. That
Yeah, that was
someone
pretty-
designed
that
their
was
own
cool.
pieces.
Yeah.
And so you have the shared village, and each player gets a little section of it, and then you are developing that area. Buildings are kind of cool. So as you build buildings, you're actually taking stickers off of the cards, and you're placing them onto the board.
Okay.
And the
Cool.
buildings are new action spaces for you to take throughout the game and later and during that game. So as I build more, I get more action spaces on the board.
So are these action spaces right here that we got on the video?
Yeah, so that's like kind of what it starts with. It starts with like 5 big ones right in the middle called the commons, and those are like really large actions that you can take. So those are the big things like actually building a building or going to the market to get people and helpers to kind of help you, which have like cool special powers. It's doing objectives, and it's opening crates, which is a lot of the game. There's a lot of the legacy part of the game is opening these crates. And as you open crates, you get more cards and you get more buildings to add to the board. You get helpers to help you get more resources and stuff like that. And the buildings then start to ramp up. So as you just start, each section of the board starts with like just one resource. So if you're looking at the video, there's 6 different resources, and each section of the board has that one resource. But then as you add more buildings, then you can turn those resources into things. So the game really evolves as you play, just like any legacy game really
Yeah.
does. There's different rules that get added, so you are taking stickers off of cards and adding it to the rule book, just like any other legacy game. You're getting rid of things, you're archiving it or destroying it. And I don't want to like obviously spoil. You don't want to spoil a legacy game,
Mhm.
but it's good so far. We've played it 3 times and we're enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying the fact that Devin is also enjoying it. It's not like a super flashy game. The components are great, but it's not going to be like this over complex worker placement. It's a very simple worker placement game. It's very friendly. If I put my worker on the space that gives you wood and
Mhm.
you want that space, you just put your guy in there and I take my guy back. And
Oh.
all you're doing on your turn is you're either placing a worker or you're taking your workers back. And so the board is very friendly. There's not a massive amount of interaction between Devin and I in terms of gameplay, other than us like laughing to try to like create names of these people that we're finding, like trying, writing the silly names on these people. But the game itself has very little player interaction, but it's very light. I think if you're trying to get into a legacy game or you're trying to find an easy worker placement game that sort of evolves, this is it. It's really like put a guy down, get your resource, turn those resources into the goal cards, and with a small like with a legacy component. So I'm at the end of this game, I get something more going into the next game, or
Right.
I can keep these resources for next game and start the next game with a little bit of advantage.
How many times have you guys played, did you say?
I think 3. We played 3 times.
Okay.
So we're
have
into it.
a question for you. One
Yeah.
thing I've heard about the game, and I mean, you might not have played enough yet to know this.
Yeah.
I've heard there's some balance issues with some of the cards. Maybe they're helper cards, or I'm not sure exactly what they are. But there was a couple guys I was talking to some time ago when this first hit, and Natalie and I had the game, and we ultimately got rid of it mostly because we heard it wasn't great with 2. But there was a couple balance issues I heard about, and I don't know how unfounded this is or not. But a couple of the guys were like, I had this particular card, and there was nothing anybody could do to stop me from just annihilating everyone. Have you found anything like that?
Not yet. I would think there are these things later called minions that, not spoiling anything, because in the directions it says you'll find out about these later. So I think maybe that's what you're talking about, is
Okay.
that there might be some balance issues with that, which I've also kind of looked at. I've also seen a lot of people just kind of debunk that, where they're like, well, just play differently. Like
Sure.
figure
Yeah,
something
just
out
don't
that,
do
Yeah.
that.
yeah, play to your strengths. Don't play to someone else's strengths. Where, and that's something, was it Rado that did that? That whole overpowered sort of. You
No,
talk
it
about
wasn't
that, or
Rado.
was that Roddy Smith? Who is that?
Who?
Anyway.
Well, it was Rodney. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That overpowered video.
So yeah, I think that maybe I guess I can report back. I think what's going to be good about just Devin and I playing is we're not going to care about that. It's
Yeah.
Right.
No. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Also
If-
depends who plays.
Yeah. I
it.
just just for everybody listening, I just kind of want to
yeah. If I was playing with 4, 5, 6 people and it was like game night, and then every night we'd had to go there and someone would just destroy us, yeah, that would be annoying. But
Yeah.
when it's just kind of the 2 of us and we're just kind of playing for fun, it's going really well. So we're not taking it super seriously.
What does Devin think about it?
Devin likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, because it's her
She's
first
even-
legacy game, right? So she's
Yeah.
never encountered
And
anything
it seems like
putting
a
stickers
cutesy
on.
little
and-
like you feel it. You're like building up a little like town and.
Yeah. The theme is cool. You're just, it's very light. So the theme is light, where you're just
Yeah.
like building this little city. You're not, with Clank being, more of a game that I would be like pumped to play because
Yeah.
it's cooler and I like that theme. Like this is very easy to get into. And she is liking the idea that like she gets to take stickers off and put them on the board.
Mhm, that is fun.
rules are changing, that I'm taking stickers off, putting them in the rule book, that we're like destroying some things and putting them away, and she's getting buildings. So it's going really well. She's even suggested that we like one night we played, and then she's like, do you want to play it again? I was like,
Oh yeah, like
Nice.
twice in a row in a
Like,
night. Wow.
racked it up. So
Well, it is
it's
fun
been-
because it changes it up a little bit each time, so you're not like playing the same game 10 times in a row.
right.
You're kind
I
of
kind of
like
want to,
building onto it every time.
yeah, and you want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
And it's not, not to like say the same thing over again, but it's, if you're looking for like a heavy Euro game, this isn't it.
Sure.
It's not something that's going to be like, oh, I want to play something really heavy and in depth and thinky. This is not it.
Okay.
But if you want to get into like a light legacy game, you're sitting at home with significant other or family, it could play. I bet like a 10-year-old could play this
I was
game.
just going to ask
not
you
like-
that. Like, I wonder if,
Yeah.
like how the kids would have to be to try to play something
How
like
much
that.
reading is there?
There is not much.
Okay.
You you can do
Well,
have
maybe
to
not
have someone
yet.
read.
Because Cameron can read. My biggest problem with Cameron playing games right now, he's 8, is his reading comprehension. So he can read stuff, but to be able to comprehend what he's reading in a way to make a strategic decision in a game, I think is what's the next step for him. So I'm really wanting him to play like a next level kind of game with me, but that's the one problem that I see.
Nothing in this game is like private, so it's not like he has to read something on his own and then make it like everything's kind of out there.
Okay.
So if he has a building and he's like, I don't know what this building does, which all has icons on it anyway, so it's like get this, get that. But if like you could always help him, be like, this is what this building does, or this is what this little person is doing. This person gives you an extra point for going to this spot. So I don't think it's very like reading. It wouldn't be difficult for Cameron, I think, to make some decisions.
Cool. So is it competitive? Like it's not cooperative?
It's not cooperative.
Yes, it's competitive.
Yeah. So it's just like at the end, somebody has more points, or
so at the end of game 1, I won. So then you get, for every 10 points you get these little stars, and you fill out on your box how many stars you got. The more stars you get, the better stuff you get later. Okay. And the loser also gets something. The loser gets something like an extra capacity later. So you get like to keep more stuff from game to game if you lose. You want to win, obviously, because if you win more games at the end, there's like an overall winner. So at the end of 12 games, someone wins the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that is partly dependent on how many games you win throughout the
right. But it sounds like it's more of an experience game.
Yeah.
I mean, most all legacy games are. I feel like even Clank, like there's a winner at the end of everything, but we don't really care
because you know what happens if they don't win.
That's why I thought about I thought about Zombie Kids too for them.
Oh yeah,
you know
Zombie Kids
I got
is cool.
That for Leah.
I played it,
and I got that for Leah. We played it a bunch, and she liked it a lot. And I was like, this could be fun for the kids. It's the only thing I would say is I kind of want Cameron to go even a little step up from that, which is why I think maybe something like Charterstone might work.
I think
it might work with him really.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy we sold it off then.
Yeah, right.
So that's Charterstone.
Birthday present.
Charterstone.
So as of this date, Jeff, you've played it twice.
You said 3 times.
You played 3 times. Okay. 3 times. What would you give it?
That's hard. It's hard because we're not like through it. The experience and just so the fun I'm having is better than the game, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So because Devin is enjoying it, because she is getting into it, and we kind of want to see where it's going, I'm having like an 8 fun, which is good.
That's what matters.
But I wouldn't say like I'm not gonna, once the Charterstone is over, I don't feel like I'm going to bring it out as a worker placement game all the time.
Right.
Because I have other ones that would probably scratch that itch a little better.
Crap. Okay, I don't want to call it crap, but that kind of stuff, I feel like when Risk Legacy and Pandemic Legacies, really Pandemic Legacy, when that came out and achieved #1 status, because it was #1 for a while before Gloomhaven, the people that, I don't know if it was a minority, I think it was a minority, but they screamed the loudest were the people that were like, I'm not going to spend $70 on a board game that I can only play 12 times and then I have to throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I think pretty much all legacy games that followed that have been like, all right, we got to make some way for there to still be a game playable at the end of this. But I would wager to bet that most of those people, A, don't play games 12 times. It's just how the world is in board games. And B, when they finish the legacy game, they're going to be like, well, this was an experience I went through. I'm not playing this game 12 times, necessarily because the game is so good. I'm not even saying that's a bad thing about legacy games, but I know that when Natalie and I finish Clank, we're probably not going to reach for it.
Right. It's like,
it's
what
complete
I mean? Now.
Yeah, it's like we
don't need to play
did it.
again.
We went through it.
Yeah.
It was like a thing that we did, almost like exit or unlock. Like we experienced it. It was awesome. It's done. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at. If when we play this 12 times and it's done, I'm going to feel complete. I'm going to feel okay. And if it ever gets played again, if it never gets played again, I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because of that experience.
It is cool that I guess if you wanted to ever, you could.
Yeah.
But again, I'm gonna guess you don't play Charterstone for the cool worker placement mechanics. You play it for like, I can't wait to see what sticker
the evolution of the game.
What's gonna happen next, and that's just gonna be gone. So you're not.
So one cool thing about Charterstone is they do sell. Stonemaier sells a recharge pack.
Right.
So there is a the back side, there's two sides of the board. They're exactly the same. So Devin and I are playing on one side of the board. When we finish, if like I wanted to play with Bill in the game group, or I wanted to play with you guys, you flip the board over and you buy this. I don't know how much it is, $20 recharge pack, and it comes with all the stuff that you would have gotten rid of in the game. It comes with a new set of cards, so now we can play it on the board. So that's pretty cool.
That's very smart.
Yeah, so that's something like when we're done, I can give it to you guys.
Yeah, that's super cool. Leave that to Stegmeyer. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's really
a good move.
Right. Sweet. So Charterstone.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, what have you guys been playing?
So we busted out this game that we still have to get to you, Jeff.
Oh, right.
It's called At the Gates of Loyang. This is a game by my boy.
Your boy.
Uwe Rosenberg.
Mm-hmm.
It's the third game in what is affectionately called his Harvest trilogy. So, I mean, he designed so many. Yeah, Agricola, and then Le Havre, and then At the Gates of Loyang. So we've played all of these now. Or I don't know if, actually, Natalie, have you
I've never played Agricola.
Yeah.
I played Agricola, All Creatures, Big and Small.
And, I mean, she's played Caverna and stuff.
Yeah, I played Caverna.
Yeah. Well, because I had Caverna, so I never bought Agricola. You know,
right? Yeah, there was no need for both.
But Jeff and I have played Agricola a few times, and anyway, so those are the three Harvest trilogy games. He then came out with like Ora et Labora, which is also kind of like that, and there's a ton of other ones that I could name, but I won't. So, in At the Gates of Loyang, each player is a farmer trading and selling their vegetables, trying to earn the most points by the end of the game. I know how action-packed and amazing that sounds, how juiced up you're all getting, but please calm down. There's more. In the game, you're plowing fields, you're placing vegetables in those fields to satisfy customers, which are represented by cards that you place in front of you. If you're looking at the video right now, you can see on the left side of that tableau, there are these cards that have little bowls in them. Those, you can trade vegetables with those, but to the right side of that board, there's the customers that you are servicing. So that's the essence of the game, serving or servicing customers to score points. And now...
that's how he explained the entire game. He said servicing.
So I kept replacing the word serving with servicing, and it made things so much funnier. So like instead of serving the customers, now we're servicing them. And so we'd say things like, I finally get to service this dude, or I didn't service this lady, and now I got to pay $2. Changing words like that makes life worth living. There's this song by Metallica called Mama Said. You know that song, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah.
And one day I just started replacing mama with mommy. And when you say mommy said to every line in that song, it makes it so much funnier.
Yeah, I bet. That's funny.
If you haven't heard Mama Said by Metallica, go listen to Mama Said, and then listen to it through one time, and then the second time listen to it again, but replace mama with mommy. And it's just, it's really funny. Anyway, the essence of the game is serving the customers. It's the difficult part is you have to have the right vegetables to do that. And the main way to get the vegetables is to plant them in fields. But if you're planting your only pumpkin in a field to make more pumpkins, you now don't have that pumpkin to use to service the customer, right? So basically, you're servicing customers, trading vegetables over and over to score the most points. That's the cool thing about this game is you don't just inherently score points. You have to purchase them. You have to buy them at the end of each round because there's a scoring phase. You can buy 1 point for $1. And then any additional points you want, you can buy as many as you want, but they cost the number of points you're trying to score. So does that make sense? So if I'm on space 10, it costs me $1 to go to space 11. But then if I want to go to space 12 to get 12 points, I have to spend 12 money. Okay. And that creates this really interesting and cool, stressful dynamic of you need to hoard all your money. Because
you get money by servicing people, right?
You got to service these people. Yeah. That's how you get the money.
Service
people. But see, it would be cool if points was the only thing that you were doing with money, but it's not. You can also spend money on vegetables that you desperately need because this is such an economic like optimization type game dressed up as this cute little farm simulator. But you have to get vegetables to these customers every round, and if you don't, you have to pay a penalty. And so when you service the customers by giving them the vegetables they want, they give you money. But again, if you can't service them, you have to pay money. And so sometimes you might have 3 or 4 customers out there, and if you can only serve 2 of them, you're coming out even sometimes maybe, and it's just not very economical to do that. So it's a really, really interesting mechanism. The whole game itself, to be honest with you, is really different than anything. I don't know, it's really cool. So I really enjoy At the Gates of Loyang, it's an incredibly unique game that I've never played anything like. Is kind of, it's nothing like Uwe's other games in the Harvest series. It's not a worker placement game like Agricola or Le Havre. It's you're just playing cards that you buy, and then you're choosing from a bevy of options to complete each turn. And it's very. Oh, I had a joke about Bill Cosby I didn't get to, but that's fine. We don't need that topic goes off. So things I liked. I like that At the Gates of Loyang is pretty light rules wise. But it's incredibly dense and challenging strategy wise. Okay, so it doesn't take long to learn the game or to grok the rules of the game, right? Grokkus do caucus. The components are amazing. It looks really cool on the table while you're playing, and you saw some of those pictures that Jeff was flipping through. It looks really nice and inviting. Building out your tableau, placing more and more vegetables in the fields, it just looks cool and satisfying. I really like the puzzle of figuring out how to get the vegetables that I need this round to service customers. I need to be able to score just one more point, and it's incredibly challenging to kind of noodle and work that out. Things I didn't like. At the Gates of Loyang is an amazing 2-player game, and most everything in the game can be played simultaneously. Natalie and I figured that out about halfway through our last play.
Right.
A lot of people don't like that, though, because it's like, okay, if we're doing everything at the same time, why are we playing together? You know what I mean? A lot of people feel that way. There's no interaction, and I'm just looking at my stuff. You're doing your stuff at the same time. Nothing that I do affects what you do, so why is this a multiplayer game? I do think this was originally designed by Uwe to be a solo game. Anyway, but I love that part about it.
Well, I felt like the opposite of that, where you were sitting there like trying to figure out what to do, and I'm just sitting there. And then when you finally figured it out, then I had to do it.
Well,
and I was like,
point.
why can't we both just do it?
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Because nothing's happening while I'm doing my turn.
Right.
So it's like, why are we playing this together? Right.
Yeah.
So
There's not like limited resources or anything, right? There's nothing.
Right. There's nothing that he would do that would really affect me.
There are a couple things.
There are a couple things, but if that
the helper
came up,
that can affect the other player.
We wouldn't do that, but
yeah.
But so basically, before we would take a simultaneous turn, we would just look and be like, okay, do you have a helper card that affects me? If you don't, and I don't, then we can take our turn together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that speeds it up. So this is a really long-winded way of me saying what was potentially bad about the game is the downtime. Because if you have, say you're playing with 4 people and you have someone at the table who's like, I don't want to do this simultaneously. The rules say you go and then I go and then I want to watch everybody go.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take forever. It's going to take forever because this game is so challenging. It's so tight, like a Teuger, and you're really trying to figure out, and it's excruciating sometimes to figure out how to get that vegetable. I need the money to get that vegetable so I can plant it in that field, but now if it's in that field, I don't get it. Oh, but if I take this card, it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're doing it simultaneously, everyone's doing it at the same time, and it's over in 5 minutes. If you're doing that not simultaneously, then now all of a sudden it takes 20 minutes each time. You know what I mean? That's just one phase, right? So okay. So that's one thing I didn't like. There's this card phase in the game, which I also didn't like because while Natalie and I were playing simultaneously, it was clicking and I was having a great time and it was fun. That's the fun part of the game is when you're figuring out how to get your vegetables in the right spots to service customers and to sell them and to plow your fields and plant your fields and trade and get all this stuff to get all this money. That's the fun part of the game. But before you get there, there's this card phase because everybody plays 2 cards on their turn. So we each draw a hand of 4 on our turn, and then you're playing 2 of them. But you don't just get to pick 2 from your hand and play them, if you remember this, Jeff. You play 1 to the table, and that's like a shared thing. Natalie can then take that card if she wants to.
I do kind of remember that. Yeah. Sounds
so
right.
You have to play 1 from your hand and 1 from the table. You can't play 2 from your hand.
Right.
Or 2 from the table.
That's hard when you have 2 in your hand. You're like, I want both of these, and you can't. You just can't have that
But
unless you place
phase,
a card down and hope the other player doesn't take it.
That phase just kind of stops. You're like going along doing all this awesome stuff, and then the card phase happens, and it's just like, now we stop, and I got to figure out what cards to buy, and then I got to wait for Natalie to figure out what cards to buy, and then we're sitting there, and then that's over. It's like, okay, cool, now we're going back to the awesome fun part again. So I don't really like it. Looks really, it's cool on paper. When you read the rule for that card thing, you're like, wow, that's super unique, and it is. I've never seen anything like that before, and that's true. It is unique and it's cool, but I found personally that in practice, that was my least favorite part of the game. I didn't feel that the game was designed bad or anything like that. I just didn't like that part as much. So I thought, and I also thought the game was a bit too challenging. A bit. The challenging to fun ratio was a little bit too high in favor of challenging. That's just a personal preference. That's, again, not anything against the game. There's those games where you're playing them, like Terra Mystica is the perfect game for me to say this with because it's right in my sweet spot, where it's hard enough, but it's so much fun for me to figure out what to do. It's so much I love that. It's right in that sweet spot. This game is a little bit, makes me feel dumb. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, why can't I figure this out? You know what I mean? It's just a little bit. So I'd say if you enjoy multiplayer solitaire games by Uwe Rosenberg, especially, that are light on rules but heavy on strategy, which Natalie and I both like, this is a great game for you. It gives you a clear idea of what you need to do. It's just the getting there that's extremely difficult. The game punishes mistakes. And I can see you get in a position where you're just completely screwed, unable to recover. And that would be very frustrating. It didn't happen to me in our play, luckily, but I felt the entire time like I was kind of teetering on the edge of being completely screwed. And I didn't really enjoy that feeling. I still think I'd rate this one like an 8 out of 10. It's very good, well designed, and I like it. What do you think?
I didn't like it quite as much as you.
Oh, this is At the Gates of Loyang.
At the Gates of Loyang. I agree. I mean, it was definitely challenging. I'd say the part that made me, I didn't necessarily dislike it because of how challenging it was. What I didn't like about it was maybe the randomness or the luck of it, because in my play, I found that I had a lot of times during the card phase, picking the cards, I was every card came out and I'm like, I don't want any of these cards. None of these are going to help me. None of these have the plants that I'm trying to plant or that I need to fulfill my cards, or all of the what are those ones called?
The helper cards?
The helper cards.
Yeah.
All the helper cards, because they're pretty situational. They didn't do anything for me either. And so I felt a lot of times I'm just I don't really want any of these cards. So I just would take some whatever, you know what I mean? And that wasn't very fun for me. I felt like I did reasonably well, like Ryan said, it was very tight, but I said it was, I never felt I felt like I was able to figure out how to make things work pretty decently. But I went harder on the casual customer cards. I don't know if that's the word.
She went harder.
Yeah, you did.
Customers.
Servicing the casual customers.
And all the customers were men, by the way. What the hell's up with that?
And Ryan was servicing the steady customers more, which I think is what they try to.
Yeah, there's two different
push
kinds
you towards
of customers.
Doing that.
There's the regular customers, and then the
I call them casual.
Yeah, casual. That's right.
Okay.
Regular customers and casual customers. The casual customers actually give you a little more money, but it's only one-time payout.
Yeah.
And you got to pay 3 resources. The regular customers, you only have to pay 2 resources, but you have to do it 4 rounds in a row.
Right. So you get less money, but you get more.
So ultimately, it's more money.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's more money.
And it's over several rounds, so it's kind of steady income, especially if you build it up. And I didn't really do that. I went for the casual customers with the big payouts, and so and the game kind of pushes you towards using the regular customers more, because with the casual customers give you less money if you have more casual customers than regular customers. So it's kind of wanting you to do the regular customers more, but
because they're easier to do the casual ones.
Yeah,
because there's no penalty.
But I didn't do that, and I mean, I think I'm probably lost because of that. Because at the end of the game, Ryan had more an engine built and had more money than I did to get more points or whatever.
Yeah, so I won by 2 points. This game, though,
there's total.
But it's only 20, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, it's 20. Yeah, I won by 2.
Let's say he got 17 and I had 15. That means he probably paid at least another.
Yeah, 30 some
right,
dollars.
A lot more money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
To get to those
the disparity between. Although I like that about the game because it doesn't make you feel like you're so far back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Because if they extrapolate that in a different way, I could have maybe been ahead by 30 points.
Right.
Sure. Or where you play Pulsar and you win by 85. And you're it's close though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So games like that sometimes you did that to me, Jeff, and Palaces of Carrara the first time we played. You remember that?
Yes,
I do. You lapped us. And you were 100 points ahead. And I read that happens in the game because it's a race game. But still, that has a tendency to make you feel bad. So I do think I like that scoring mechanism probably the best in At the Gates of Loyang.
Yeah.
So that's At the Gates of Loyang. Did you give it a rating?
No. Well, I think it's good, not great. I'm going to call it a 7. I felt like if I played it again, I probably would have the same amount of fun. Like I didn't, feel like have that feeling of like, oh, I can't wait to try it again to like do better. I was kind of like,
That's a bummer because
So-
I did offer because you have a copy for me. So we got this game on some deal. So we ended up just buying 2 of them.
Yeah, it was like $24.
I did offer that I would take your opened copy and you can return the unopened copy
Yeah, the
if you
unopened
want,
copy.
if Natalie
Yeah.
didn't want it anymore.
I'm gonna try. I'm
You
gonna
can-
keep
I'll
it and
play it
try
again.
to get her to
I'm
play
not.
it again.
I
see
don't
if
like
she likes
hate
better.
it. I mean, I said it's good, not great. It's just
Mhm.
not like my favorite Uwe game by far. I like a lot of his other games way better.
Isn't it crazy? Like Uwe is known for all these like polyomino things, but then At the Gates Loyang is a great game and has nothing to do with that. It
Well, he
doesn't
went
seem
in
like it would be
shifts,
that.
because like
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a game like
Fields of-
Bonanza,
Fields
which
of
is
All.
Right.
he did Bonanza for
Yeah,
crying
yeah,
out loud. and
that's
Mamma
true.
Mia, and then he did
Oh,
his whole
right.
harvest things where like Agricola Caverna or at Labora, at the Gates of Loyang, Fields of Arla,
Feast of Odin.
Feast for Odin.
Feast for Odin.
Yeah, people always say a feast of Odin, like they're
I
eating
said
Odin.
that.
A Feast of Odin.
Odin tastes
Delicious.
delicious. I'm a god.
A game about cannibals.
Or
Yeah.
even Glass Road or stuff like that.
Glass Road's good too, man.
It's good,
Well,
man.
even
That's
those
a
like
good game.
meadow ones are like very like.
Well, so those are the polyomino ones he sucked.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
he kind of shifted once Feast for Odin and Patchwork and stuff like hit. He's done a spate of, he's just awesome. Dude.
He did Nova
Yeah.
Luna
He's
too,
awesome.
right?
And Nova Luna,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
He did Nova
Mhm.
Luna, right?
Yeah, he's good.
So anyway, that's it. That's At the Gates of Loyang.
What else you got?
Yeah, what about
boy?
you, Brosafina?
I played a game called Dragon Market.
Oh, I wanted that at Gen Con so
Yeah.
bad.
That's right. You want
So to
Blue,
keep it
it's blue-orange, right?
blue-orange, and I realized I have a lot of blue-orange games,
Yeah.
and I think
Do
because
you mean by the publisher or games that are just like bluish-orange?
yeah, bluish-orange. No, by the
Okay.
publisher. And I think it's because as I look through my collection, I have a lot of games that play good with like family because of my students. So I have a lot of blue-orange games that are good. They make a lot of good family / like gateway sort of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's great. I think like probably what's their heaviest game? Maybe like photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis,
That might
probably.
be the
And that's recent, man. They were only like kids games for a long
Yeah.
time, and just recently they've kind of gotten into the more light to midweight.
yeah. So
kinda
this
stuff.
is definitely light. There's no like I'm appealing to people who are again in quarantine, sitting at home with a couple kids. You could play Dragon Market easily a couple times in a night if you want. So Dragon Market it's an abstract pick up and deliver game, and the theme is players are picking up gifts to deliver to the princess's wedding. If you were curious. And so if you're looking at the pictures, you can kind of see the board. If you're not, I need you to imagine a 10 by 10 grid, and the 10 by 10 grid. Every player starts in the corner, and the corner is a dock,
This looks like a penis.
and it does, yeah.
Right.
And the corner is a dock, and the rest of the board is water. So the 4 corners are docks where you start your player pawn, and the rest of it is water. So the game begins with players going back and forth, taking those boats. So the boats are the 3 by 1 essentially. So they're just a row of 3.
Like Battleship, it almost looks like.
Yeah, like Battleship. And you take turns just placing these boats out into the water. However, whatever orientation makes sense. You obviously can't go diagonal, but you just place them back and forth, and then you reach randomly and you put out these item tiles on the boats. Each boat has 1 spot that is taken by the sailor. So each boat will have 2 open spaces for items. Does that make sense? If you're looking at the picture,
Mhm.
makes total sense. If you're not, who knows if it makes sense.
Sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah. So the way Dragon Market begins is a player gets a card, and the card is an objective. An objective has 4 or 5 different items on it, and that's what you need to collect and bring back. And you need to do this twice. You need to complete 2 objective cards, and the first one to complete 2 objective cards wins. And on your turn, you take these 2 dice and you roll them, and the dice tell you how many action points you get that turn. And with action points, you can do only 3 things. So you can move a boat. And the only way to move a boat is logically. You can't like slide a boat. So boats have to move the way that they're pointing.
Mm.
And you can't like shift a boat over. You can move a boat. You can rotate a boat. And how you rotate a boat is you have to rotate it at the pivot point of the sailor.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's
If
right.
the sailor's on the far left, he has to be pivoted from there. So he stays in the same spot essentially. And pivots, and you can't pivot. So I'm not sure, is there maybe 8 or 9 boats out on the board.
There's
It's
You
like
can't
10.
Yeah.
10 boards. Okay, so there's
Yeah.
10 boats, and as you're spinning, you can't hit another boat. You can't go over the top of another boat. You have to have
Yeah.
the crew to actually turn. So
This
that
is
I
like very abstract strategy stuff.
Yeah. So so you can move a boat, you can rotate a boat, or you can move your player. And the player piece can only move on boats. So you're trying to like boat hop essentially across the water to pick up all these.
Oh, it's
little
like Jobby Nooner.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you're hopping, you can't go over the sailor. So the sailor blocks a spot. So you're trying to shift these boats to make a path for your person to get to the goods.
Oh, I gotcha.
You're hopping around the board. You're moving. You can move the boat that your player's on and try to shift him around the board or her. And it's so you do that. Once you get all your goods for one card, you bring it back to your dock, and you do that twice. So once I get back to my dock, I get a new card, and then I go back out and venture, and I get it and get the 4 or 5 items and bring them back. And then the first person to complete 2 of the objectives, they win. It is definitely like the theme is very light, where it's like, oh, you're this cool little thing and you're moving these boats. The components are awesome. As
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool.
the
I
boats
remember.
are so cool. The insert is great. It fits perfectly in there. They're like heavy wood, chunky
Yep.
pieces. And that's really cool. It is, for how like light it kind of seems, it's definitely an abstract game. You have to be good at spatial thinking.
I'm not.
I know. me
And
neither.
I'm not either. This isn't like, I wouldn't put this in like a heavy abstract game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about like Yinch or those.
It does
other,
seem
like,
easier
those
to like
games.
figure out like the turning of a boat than like maybe some other kind of abstract
Right.
game.
Yeah. It's not like it's like 4-dimensional.
Right.
So yeah, it's for how light it sounds. There is some challenge in how to figure out the movement of the boats, and especially because there's pivot points, and you're like, all right, I need that token, and it's only like one spot away or one boat over, but it's like I
How
can't
do
get,
I get
there. I have to use 8 movement points to like shift this boat out of the way so I can bring these things back. And every time you get on a spot with an item, if it's yours, you can take it. So that's pretty. So you can, if you somehow plan, you can pick up maybe multiple on the same turn, but you still have to bring them back. It's a very simple, easy game to understand the rules for, but has some challenge, and I think there's some competitiveness. Devin and I just played, so I think with 4 people, because you start then on all corners,
Mhm.
there would be a lot more of like moving other people's kind of boat. Like I might set up a boat for next round, but Ryan might need it, and he might have to move it, and now I'm stuck having to then move it back.
That sounds
Yeah.
frustrating.
There might be more of that in a 3 to 4 player
Yeah,
game.
getting each other's
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it was. Devin and I had fun. We finished in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
20, 25 minutes.
Sweet.
And yeah, like you could play it over and over again. I would say there's two things I maybe didn't like or had some downsides. One is, so you take these dice and you roll them at the beginning of your turn, and it tells you how many action points you get. And the variation's not much. It's either 6, 7, or 8. So those are the action points you get. But these action points are very important. So
Mhm.
like if I'm consistently rolling 7s and 8s and Devin's rolling 6s, I'm moving more than she is.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. Just
Because
like,
I
just
yeah.
randomly.
That could
So-
be frustrating if you were just rolling bad consistently.
Yeah, that can be annoying. There is a little bit of mitigation where if I decide not to use an action point, I get this coin, and then I can turn in coins on future turns to move more. So that's a little bit, but we never found ourselves not using action points. We wanted to like set ourselves up for later turns. And I won by 2 moves. Devin wins on her next move. She already had her
wow.
boat set up. She had her boat set up to just walk into the thing. I just happened
You
to
just
get
got
there
there
one
first.
turn before, even just one move. So if she rolls an 8 instead of a 6 on her previous turn, she wins.
She wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that could be annoying, which wasn't annoying for us, but you could luck out by having your resources very close. The items that you need to get, it could end up being on the other side of the board, and you have to move a boat closer
Mhm.
to you. But I think that's just random. That's
Yeah.
like there's 2 of each resource, so it would be really annoying if they were all the way on the other side of the board. But
Well, it
you
sounds like
have
it's short enough and light enough that hopefully,
Yeah.
that doesn't bother you too much.
Yep.
Yeah, and-
Randomness is okay as long as the game length is not ridiculously.
Right.
Yeah, and these complaints are
Stretched
minor,
out.
especially for like a family abstract game with
Mhm.
great components, a cool theme, and yeah, it was good. I would check it out if it sounds like if it's a game you want to maybe get your kids into. I might give it over to Joe and Jen
Yeah.
and see if they want to play with their kids. See if Delaney wants to play, and she's 10.
Did Devin like it?
Yeah, Devin was like, it was cool. It's funny, we
Now she's more into the heavy games.
Well, yeah. Well, so it's fun. So we usually play about 3 times a week, and
Yeah.
2 of the times we'll play like a game, like a heavy game. We'll play. We played Underwater Cities. We played Charterstone. These are more of a games. And then she always refers to like our last game of the week as like, we want to play some piddly dink. Let's play some piddly dink game. Yeah.
Piddly dink.
So
Just a little
play
piddly
some
dink.
piddly dink game.
Just a little piddly
So
dink.
That should be how we describe those games now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
and-
not. Yeah, they're
I don't
piddly
wanna-
dinks now.
Piddly dink
They're not
game.
fillers.
yeah, it just
Like
sounds
between
even
a
worse
filler
than a filler,
and
right?
like a medium game. Or
Piddly
like,
dink.
Yeah, that's
piddly
exactly what it is. Like,
Right.
I want to play piddly dink, and it's like 20,
Piddly
25 to
dinky
45
dinky dink.
minutes. Yeah.
Piddly dinky doo.
So it's like, under an hour. That kind of just like light, easy sort of
Yeah.
game. I don't want to
Cool.
call anything a piddly dink game because I feel like it like degrades it, but
It does sound mean.
yeah.
doesn't mean it's sucky. It just means it's light and
Yeah.
simple. It's
Yeah.
not a real
That doesn't
thinker.
sound derogatory in any way.
No. So I'm not calling Dragon Market a piddly dink game, but
But Devin is.
it's light, easy,
Yeah.
and I think it would work.
Well,
really
we like
well
lots
with
of games like
family.
that, especially like if we're playing like at night on a work night or something. Like that's the game you want to play because you don't
Yeah.
want to hurt your brain or you're too tired or whatever. So
Yeah, I
those
think you
games
get
are
Cameron to
fun.
play it. I think Cameron would play it.
Awesome. Yeah,
he
yeah.
knows how to. Yeah,
Yeah,
he can
do
I'll
that kind
hand
of
it off
stuff.
to you guys. Maybe
Uh-huh.
when I get at the gates of Loyang, I'll.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one of these days in the next year.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Dragon
cool.
Market. Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So we played a Cosmos game that's been a buzz for a long time. In Ryan terms, it's been a buzz for a couple hours, but really in real life, it's been months.
yeah, that was so
It's incredibly unique because it's a cooperative trick-taking game, and this is The Crew. Okay, there aren't many cooperative trick-taking games around. I'm aware of The Crew, and there's that new Fox in the Forest duet. I think is cooperative. Anyway, this is really interesting. But basically, there's 50 different missions to complete. So the missions are how the trick-taking makes it work as a cooperative game. Because when you think trick-taking, you're like, well, how could you do that cooperatively? Because if I play a trick and I win, don't I win the trick then?
Right.
Well, the way this works is you're not playing against the other players, but instead you're playing to achieve a shared goal. So basically in the game, there's 5 suits. Each mission, there's an objective, which is usually just winning a trick with a certain card in your hand to satisfy its requirement. So if you're looking at the picture here on the screen, you can see in the kind of the bottom left-hand corner, there's like a green 6, and that's a littler card. And on the right-hand side of the screen, there's the bigger cards. So the bigger cards are what's in your hand. They're either going to be one of those 4 colors or a rocket, and a rocket is just a trump card. And
just trumps everything.
yep, a trump card that trumps everything. Thank you. And so on the card, the little cards are the same as the big cards. Thank God for the little train. And so what those ones do is those are your mission cards. So at the beginning of a mission, for instance, you'll have a hand of the big cards, and then you'll each get, this is just a for instance, you'll each get one of those little cards in front of you. So if I have the green 6, what that means is I have to then win a trick and get the green 6 in that trick that I won. It doesn't have to be the card that wins it. It just has to be in there, and it has to be in front of me. If Natalie wins a trick that has the green 6 in, we fail the mission. Does that make sense? Because I have the green 6 card. So there's 50 of these, and they're different in terms of how they work. So like the very first mission, I'm not going to spoil a ton. The very first mission, you just have to complete one of those mission cards. So I will get the mission card. It's that green 6. Natalie and I have to figure out a way to get the green 6 in a hand that I win. Okay. The other trick, haha, pun intended for sure, is we can't speak.
So we don't even
it's
know
like that.
who
We can't talk to each
has
other.
it.
The only communication we're allowed to do or to give, we each have this little communication token. Before a trick begins, we can pick any card in our hand and lay it face up on the table. So if you're looking at the video or at the screen right now, the picture, there's a red 7, a red 6, a 2 rocket, and a 1 blue. Say I wanted Natalie to know that I only have 1 blue card in my hand. So I would put that blue 1 on the table, and then I take that token, and you can put it on one of 3 spots on the card. Again, you can't talk. You're either putting it on the top of the card. If you do that, that tells your other players that is the highest card in that color you have. If you put the token in the middle of the card, you're saying this is the only card in that color I have. And if you put it at the bottom of the card, you're saying this is the lowest card in that color I have. So if I really wanted Natalie to know that I only had one blue card in my hand, before the trick begins, I might put that one card down and put my token in the middle of the card. And now she's like, okay, that's the only blue card he has in his hand. So, that will help.
Yeah, it gives me information.
Yeah, it gives her information with how to complete a mission.
Mhm.
Okay. In a multiplayer game, when I say multiplayer, I mean more than two in this instance, because there's completely different rules for two players. In the multiplayer game, 3 or more, you play it that way, where each player just gets mission cards or certain rules on how to complete a mission, and you have to go through and complete them all. And if you satisfy all the mission requirements, you win and you go on to the next mission. In a 2-player game, there's a dummy player called Jarvis, and this basically acts as a third player, and one person controls them as if they're sitting in a seat, right? So they take their turn in the same spot every time. So, like, if I go first, I would make Jarvis go second, then Natalie goes third. Now, Jarvis has cards face up, and so and then he also has cards face down. So the face down cards we can't see until we play for him one of the face up cards to then reveal the face down card underneath. So it creates basically another player. It's like a dummy player with some hidden information. So things I liked. The crew is super unique, and there's really nothing that we have in our collection like it, which I really like. It's very quick. We got through, I think, like 6 missions or so in an hour, and I would have played on and on and on. I would have just kept playing. If you lose, you usually lose quickly enough, and so starting over is not that terrible. It's kind of a bummer if you're playing with the Jarvis, because you have to just reset and reshuffle everything. But it's not too terrible. It's really just so fun for me to noodle out when to play certain cards, how exactly to accomplish the missions. That's so good. That stuff is so good. I have the green 6 mission card. I see Jarvis has a green 6 card face up. I have to, we have to figure out how to get that green 6 card in a hand for me, and I win the trick that way. We got to, and figuring that out is not as obvious as it sounds. It's usually, it takes a little bit of finagling, and it's really fun to do that. There's other missions that, that aren't just the mission cards. Some might say one player cannot win a trick the entire round, and that's how you win. If they win a trick, you fail the mission.
Or they could say, we all have missions, and it can be like, you have to complete your mission first. You have to complete your mission second. So, like, how do you,
Yeah, so you gotta work together to figure it out. And again, you can't talk, so it's really cool. Things I didn't like, there isn't much I didn't like about this one. I don't really think the cards so there's these cards you take and put in your hand. So you know how I said you can give information by playing a card face up? When you play a card face up on the table, there's these like filler cards you pick up to put in your hand. So other players around the table, if they see that in your hand, they're like, oh, he's got a card played on the table. I don't really know why those are necessary. We only played 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that play testers, there's a reason for that. And we only played a 2-player game. So in a big multiplayer game, there might be more of a reason for those, but we didn't find those very useful. So I don't know. It's just a really good, light little game, little piddlywink that I think deserves a spot in everyone's collection, quite honestly. It's cheap enough, and it's inexpensive enough. It's little enough. It's light enough. It's fun all the awards it's getting are for people playing it 3+. The 2-player game is the outlier, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
we loved the 2-player version. So right as it stands right now, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's a great game. What do you think?
I thought it was a great game too.
The crew.
I really like trick-taking games, and I love this one. It had such a unique spin to it. Like, it made like a trick-taking game like strategic, and I don't know. I guess I kind of had the same feeling I have when we play Codenames Duet, where it's like it's difficult, and you you're like working together, but you can't really communicate, and it's not as simple as it seems, and I have that same feeling, and we love Codenames Duet.
Yeah, Codenames Duet's amazing.
And so I had that same kind of feeling, but yeah, I mean, I don't even know what you said at all. Super interesting take on trick taking. I'm very excited to keep playing it. I had so much fun. It was like that sweet spot for me, I feel like, in as far as like difficulty and funness.
Yeah, you know what
Funness is
kind
a
of
word.
funness it gave me? You know, a game like Custom Heroes, where every time you just play that game, you're like, this game's awesome. This game is
Yeah.
just so good.
Awesome.
The Crew gives me that kind of feeling. It's a different
Cool.
game completely. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both trick-taking. Well, the Custom Heroes is more anyway, it gives you that you play it and you're like, why doesn't everyone just have this game? So, Jeff, I think you should
It's
just get
really fun.
Yeah, so when you play, it won best co-op game for the
yeah, I
the
think it
Golden
did.
Geeks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But so when you play with, if the three of us played, would it be weird if we played one of the missions you already played?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No.
so you would
Because
just
the
pick
mission
a
would be
random
different.
mission.
It would just be a different like card that you can't come out with.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the missions aren't. Yeah, it's not like a legacy game in that way. It's really just like they give you these different ways to just make it replayable.
Right,
Okay.
without it being the same game. So like he said, the first mission is you just pull this,
One mission card.
one card, which is one of the colors with a number in the deck, and then whoever has that objective card has to win that trick. Well, if you did that again, maybe someone else
Pick
would
a
have it, and
different-
maybe it'd be a different
Okay.
card. So it wouldn't be exactly.
It's
the
not
same.
exactly the same.
That's cool.
Yeah. But if it was just that over and over, it would get boring. So then
Right.
they have additional ways to
Make it a little
keep you
more
coming back.
difficult. and-
So
yeah,
I just added it to my Amazon cart. So
yep,
there you go.
yep, you're gonna
Nice.
want that. I think it's gonna be. It's really, and
It's
we
really
can attest
fun.
it's really fun with two. The Jarvis
Yeah.
player does not change. Everyone says that it's a completely different game with two players. I don't totally. I mean, I'm sure it is because
I'm sure
it's
it
a dummy
is.
player.
and because
but-
we have less information, because we can all see what we both can see what Jarvis has.
Yeah.
So like, if
But
there
we
was
can't.
actually
We
three
can't
people-
talk is the thing.
Yeah.
We can't communicate at all about Jarvis. We can only communicate about what we have in our own hands. So if I make a move on Jarvis and Natalie didn't want me to, all she can do is yell in her own head at me.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then after the game.
Cool. It sounds fun.
So those are some
Really
games we have been playing lately. So this brings to mind something I am very passionate about, and I wanted to introduce a new seminar that I'm starting, and it talks all about the practice of self-hindrance. Yes, you heard me right, self-hindrance. It is the opposite of self-help, defined as the action or process of worsening oneself through the frivolous spending of money on things you don't really need. In other words, fun.
Yep.
This all came about one day. I was standing in the kitchen and I was deciding what to have for breakfast. And I opened the freezer. Staring right back at me was this half-gallon of Caramel Delight ice cream. A spark started to grow in my brain. I listened to it and it said, hey, you're a grown-up. If you want to eat ice cream for breakfast, you go right up fucking ahead and you eat ice cream for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I grabbed that carton and tore into it like Joe Exotic with one of his many husbands.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
The idea for the seminar was then born. I had another conversation with Jeff about how he's reappropriating the money he's been saving due to the quarantine into board games. Taglines were then created by Jeff and I. Spend that money. Treat yourself. Your bank account, it's your bank account.
Treat yourself.
You control it. It doesn't
Yeah.
control you.
You forgot
Yeah.
the other part of that story.
We'll talk about that later. So if you take my course, you will learn the tried and true methods that I've spent the last 3.5 days developing, such as eat whatever you want, sit on your butt and play video games all day. And my personal favorite, don't shower unless you need to pleasure yourself without your wife knowing about it.
Yep.
So for just $100, you too could learn the art of self-hindrance. What are you going to do? Let bills and relationships get in the way of your good time? Self-help is for losers with no money and families who love them. Take my course. F it. Spend it. That was our tagline, right, Jeff? F it.
Yes. F it.
Don't take it from me, though. Here are some quotes from some actual people who have already been living the Hindred lifestyle. Jeff says, wow, having no money really told me who my real friends were.
Yep.
Ryan says, I have no money, everyone hates me, and I'm super fat. Thanks, self-hindrance. Natalie says, I want my $100 back. So if you're looking for a bit of debauchery and chaos in your boring quarantine life, consider the art of self-hindrance.
Yes.
With that out of the way, it's now time for the two of you listening to hear yourselves shouted out on this episode's Instagram inbox.
I like how he didn't give us time to comment
No, you
on
can't
that.
comment. Well, it was supposed to be like a commercial.
Oh.
Like a commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, Jeff, the other part of that story, when I got the ice cream out of the freezer, I was like,
I was
yeah,
in the bathroom.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to
you're
do whatever I want. I'm a grown-up. I can do what I want. I hear the door handle jiggling. I'm like,
like, "Ugh."
put the lid back on the ice cream, and I run back to the freezer, and I'm like, I got the spoon. I'm like, where do I put the spoon? Where do I put the spoon? I throw it in the sink. Now it comes out, and I'm just like,
Like, oh, what's up? What are you doing?
Hey, how's
you
it
having a good day?
this is me casual. I was so
I'm cool.
terrified.
I'm being cool.
Yeah, everything's cool. Sorry, man. Instagram inbox. Go for it.
That's good. Let me. I gotta pull it up. Okay, man. I got a couple more. All right.
I can go to the bathroom if you want.
Oh, do you want to?
No.
Do you have some weird fetish I don't know about, Jeff?
We go to the
I can
bathroom.
go to the bathroom if you want.
If you need more time.
No, I'm good.
You
if
can
we
start.
wanna-
You can start.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, do it.
All right. This is the Instagram inbox with the Mad Board Gamer. And I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine that you have just been teleported into the last game that you played. Look around you. Where are you? What's going on? And I took that thought and I asked that question on Instagram. I said, what is your new life like now that you've been teleported into the last board game that you've played? And what's cool, have you guys played any board games since Forgotten Waters?
No, we were going to play Circadians this morning, and we just didn't get to.
Well, this
Yes.
is good because then we're all in the same game.
Right.
We're all pirates on the Forgotten Waters.
Yep. I'm Annie, the
I
the
forgot.
orphan pirate.
Oh yeah,
You're Bob.
the urban pirate. I'm
Yeah.
Bob, the gold coat pirate.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of cool responses from people who were imagining that they were in their last board game that they played.
Arr.
So we're getting some shout outs to some people. We'll cruise through them. And I think it'll be funny if we kind of imagine that we are also in that board game too.
Yeah, good
Because
idea.
we've played the majority of these games that people are living in now.
Awesome.
Oh.
Okay.
Michael Vinoy 7, who's a great listener, who is one
Yep.
of our people on our Geek Guild, Natalie.
Oh. What, you mad at me
Guild
about it?
3675.
Join the damn guild,
Yeah.
woman.
3678, 3675. What are we?
8675309.
So Michael Vinoy describes his surroundings as he's in a village where special powered people are trying to kill werewolves.
Oh, okay. The villages of werewolves, the werewolves
in,
of Miller's Hollow.
He's playing Silver. Silver was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ted L. Spot.
So I also told him, I'm like, you could also be a werewolf. So we
Yeah,
don't know. He
right.
could be being hunted.
Yeah, he's just trying to get you he's trying to convince you that he's not a werewolf.
Yeah. Our good friend Joey Zim V 2.0 is in a lush forest surrounded by giant evergreen tree where critters prepare special seasonal events.
Everdell.
Aw.
He's in Everdell.
Isn't that cute?
What a lovely place to
What
be.
a lucky mother
I know.
he is. If you just like
'Cause-
zapped into a game and
Yeah, because
That's the
there's
one,
some
yeah.
bad ones you wouldn't want to zap yourself into, but that's
although
very
wait,
well.
in Everdell is everything a critter?
could be. Are
So
you
then-
a critter?
Well, if you're just transported in there, I would
Yeah,
think
you're-
at some point bestiality is an inevitability.
That's true. Ouch. Not so cute anymore. All right, fantasy and some flights.
Just listen.
Fantasy and some flights.
Yep, Fantasy and Flights, love them.
Fantasy and some flights says,
I don't know what you
looks like we're going to have an exciting life planting veggies in Agricola.
do.
The excitement of 14th century farming, right?
Yeah, all
Yeah,
the excitement
yeah,
of 14th century farming. Jeff, I
bad-
feel like that's maybe your favorite beatdown comment.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That
All
is
the
really
excitement
funny.
of it.
Yeah.
It's just so well worded. I
It
feel
is.
like.
It is. It's like really concise and to the point.
Yeah. Bad board game covers, who I'm doing terrible in his newest bracket. But that's okay.
Sucks
I know,
so
wish
bad
you
for
guys didn't
bracket.
do.
I know.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm stupid.
He is protecting our children from Creptus, who's I guess the bad guy in Stuff Fables. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be a adorable yet terrifying
Yeah.
world.
I think it'd be
You'd be like,
scary.
oh, cute stuffed
This
animals.
is
And
so.
you'd be
Oh
like,
my god, it's gonna stab me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Miss French
It's okay,
Toast,
it's just stuffing.
our good friend Sam, is in Onitama, a weird place of peace and bloodshed. Which I also messaged her. I'm like, yeah, it'd be kind of weird because you just have to be staying there, and all of a sudden you could only go to one specific spot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Would
then
you
wait
like
a little
feel
bit.
that in your brain? You're like, I'm gonna go diagonal to the left. No,
Yeah.
no. Now
No.
I'm just gonna go backward.
No, yes. Nuclear Night is in a beautiful place full of beautiful birds and eggs and a slight rodent problem
Wingspan.
in Wingspan.
Yeah,
Yep.
in Wingspan.
Yep.
I like that you do this and then we guess the game.
Lots of bird watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Emotional Cyborg says, polyomino patches, taunting square holes, buttons and time management. A lot of stress.
No idea what game this one is.
Yeah.
So if you go
And-
into patchwork, what are you?
Yeah, I don't know if I think you're making the quilt. I think
Yeah,
you
you
are
just
just
gotta,
stuck
like-
as
So
a
you're just
quilt
like- you're
maker.
And you're like,
Donna?
oh no, my quilt has holes in the end.
Yeah,
when you
but
can't
not
fill
like-
up the board.
Yeah, you're not making a quilt in a normal way, like from bottom to top or
Right,
top.
in
You have to make it
polyomino.
like this patch and then this
You're
patch,
like-
and there's like big
I
holes.
feel like making a little 3x1 and then
Yeah.
up one.
And then be like, ooh, that fits perfectly in this gigantic open space that I have.
Yeah.
Jim Gamer says, aliens are attacking, and the scientists asked to make the weapons suck, which I didn't really know what game he was talking about.
So say it again.
He said aliens are attacking, and the scientists that were supposed to make them suck.
The scientists that were supposed to
make the aliens?
The aliens?
Make the weapons, like the fighting weapons.
I still don't know.
It's a print and play. I guess it's called Under Fallen Skies.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Okay.
So
I've heard of that. I heard of that.
Seems
right
like he's
now,
getting
just
into
now.
he's getting into some
basically,
print and plays
He
under
can't
the
defend
quarantine.
himself from the aliens.
Yeah.
With sucky weapons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving Meeples, who I think just crossed over 3,000.
Ooh.
Nice.
Says it looks like a fever dream of underground subways.
A fever dream of underground subways.
Yeah, what do you got for that one?
Maybe
Pipeline?
Claustrophobia.
Yeah. Metro X. Have you heard of Metro X?
Oh, no.
It's a roll and write or a flip and write?
No.
I think you're like it's.
I think
literally-
I have heard
the,
of it, but I would never have guessed
the
it.
paper. Yeah, the paper is like subway lines. And I think you're filling out the subway lines.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
when you're like transported in there, are you just like, holy shit, there's subways all over the place. I gotta get out of here. I'm on the
So
third
it's like
rail.
a maze of
I think
subways.
so. Yeah, just like flying around.
Yeah,
You don't know how
that
to
would be
get home.
terrifying.
So our fellow gamecaster, NM Tyson, she responded. Did you know she responded, Ryan?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't.
I didn't tell him what it
didn't-
was.
She was just like, how do I make it type more words?
Well, I had to split it into two.
Oh, yeah,
That
you
cut
did.
me
Oh,
off.
I'll read it all. Don't worry. So Natalie says, I'm an uneducated pirate, Pegleg Sue, that bet against Deepwater Joe in a brawl with Murderface. I lost everything, and now I have to go by my alias, Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
That is great. No one has any clue what the hell we're talking
Yeah.
about, but that's really
Yeah.
We
funny.
played Forgotten
Mr.
Waters.
Yeah, play Forgotten Waters
Yeah.
and you'll know.
Inside. Mr. Days 1607 is living in Jamaica because he played Jamaica.
Oh, that's
But
a
he's
nice
living a-
place
what a
to
lucky
be.
son of yeah.
Yeah, but the thing
You know
is,
what?
he
You
lives in
deserve that, Lewis. Good
Yeah.
job.
He lives in a pirate. He's a pirate life, though. He's got to be a pirate
Sure.
in Jamaica.
Oh, they're pirates. Yeah, but it's
So-
paradise.
I know.
Right. There's probably lots of rum.
Trivia Geek is in the middle of a conflict of factions in an alternate universe version of post-World War I. Mechs? You know what game that is?
Wait. World War. Oh, Scythe.
Yeah. So he's living
Mhm.
inside. So that's not great. That's not where you want
That
to
sounds
get.
a little terrifying
Yeah.
too. You're just
Yeah,
kind of
that's
you're kind of like at first you're like, oh, I'm in Agricola. Okay, I can do
Yeah,
this, and then you're like, what's this giant
then
machine
he's
coming
like,
to destroy? Ah! Yeah.
The McMeeples say life looks the same, just living in Coimbra. Yep.
That's funny.
Board game snobs. Gabi. This is a good one. Gabi says everyone has huge heads.
Okay, so he's playing
The Funko?
the Funko Pop game.
Yeah, he's playing Funko
Ah.
Brothers.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah. If you're not listening to
Head's a
board game
little
snobs,
rectangle.
That's really funny.
yeah, if you're not listening to board game snobs, you should.
They are that podcast is so funny.
They are
Yeah.
I
funny.
found them randomly on Podbean. We both host through Podbean.
Mhm.
The Board Game Snobs do, and I host us through Podbean as well. And I found them there one day, and I listened to it. You don't stop laughing. They're
Yeah.
just really funny.
They're entertaining.
So yeah,
Yeah.
check them out.
Dr. Nightmare X77
Wow.
is a superhero in the Marvel Universe.
Okay,
That's
so he's
pretty
doing
sweet.
Marvel Champions
Yeah, or legendary.
or Legendary.
Yep. Mustard Man. Mustard Man 76 is alone alone battling in an arena.
Alone.
Oh! Is it is it that game by your boy King Klinko?
Yeah, it is. Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So just standing alone because it's a single player game. It's a
Yeah,
solo
right.
game. Like, oh no, I'm all by myself.
Well, I mean, it goes along with social distancing, so he's
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
school.
Family Meeple looks like a fight for oxygen, heat, and water on Mars.
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, it was terraforming
Man,
Mars.
that would be.
Yeah.
that'd be rough. You're transported to Mars.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just die instantly because you don't have a spacesuit on?
That's true. Yeah, I guess. Hopefully you'd have it on.
Yeah.
Well,
Why wouldn't you?
'cause you're just
Haskell-
transported there.
Oh, I see.
yeah, you're just like, boop.
You're like, boop, here I
He's
am.
like,
Like,
yeah, you just get sucked up.
Right.
Oh,
if you're listening to that,
He was
I
just
was
choking himself
dying
out.
on Mars.
yeah, he was dying. Yeah. Haskell Jr.
Eddie Haskell.
says, this is funny. He says, pandemic checks out.
So literally nothing changed. He
Yeah.
Yeah,
blinked.
nothing has
Went
changed.
from one pandemic
Yeah.
to another pandemic.
Yeah. Tesla Volt Games says 16th century Caribbean life working on the plantations in Puerto Rico.
No.
Wow.
Playing,
Okay,
Playing
that
Puerto
would-
Rico.
That's a very controversial place to land.
Yeah. Yep. Colb's McDermott. Colb's McDermott apparently played the game King Oil recently.
Don't know that one.
Oil is like a Milton Bradley game from the 70s that I
Oh
loved.
my
Oh.
gosh.
So that's crazy.
That sounds terrifying as well. These all just sound terrifying.
I know. CP Wilson gets transformed into a dice throne.
Okay. I don't know much
you're
about
like-
that game.
I think you're like fighting each other. So you're like rolling dice, and then whatever your dice says like activates a cool power. So I'm sure you're just
Oh,
rolling dice and
Maybe
trying
that's
to
just
fight people.
fun. We didn't stipulate. Can you actually die in this world?
I don't know.
Probably.
Probably.
If
Yeah,
not, then what did I just do for terraforming Mars?
Right.
Yeah.
Geek Niche Nails is in a mind reading society.
Okay.
What do you think about that one?
A
there's- I
mind-
think there's two-
medium. It's got to be medium, right?
Well, she's at Wavelength. She played Wavelength.
Oh,
same
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing
yeah.
where you're trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm curious, like, are you just in a world walking around, like, turning this dial to like communicate with other
I
people?
picture that
Yeah.
you turn
Like-
into the dial and you're just like
are
horribly
the dial?
malformed. Like, ow!
And you just like change the
Oh.
you change the card that's in front of you to be like,
Ow!
yeah. Like, where would you like to go? And you're just like,
Yeah.
you have to like
Yeah.
guess. Ever bored of gaming is a Viking raiding and pillaging in the North Sea.
All right.
Oh,
That
nice.
sounds
Again,
fun.
man, you just get like, yeah, kinda, until bad things happen.
Yeah, until you
Right.
realize that, oh, I'm just a squishy little normal person living in, normal society. I don't have
Yeah.
Viking.
Right. And thrown into
Training.
a Viking world.
Yeah.
Professor Plum is surrounded by camels, spices, diamonds, and gold.
Oh, God. Why didn't he play Clue?
Yeah, I know.
Would that not have been
awesome.
perfect?
Yeah.
Professor
That would've
Plum
been perfect.
transported a Clue? Where did
I
he go?
think
I'm
he-
sorry, Jeff. Where did he go?
It was like
He's surrounded by
camels.
camels, spices, diamonds, and gold.
Oh,
I think
okay.
He maybe
So
played Jaipur,
Istanbul?
possibly, or
Either Jaipur
Istanbul.
or Century Spice Road
Oh yeah, that's probably that one. I'm gonna go with that one.
or Ispahan.
Ooh, yeah, he's got
Camels in
there's
that,
some,
too.
some choices for the Plum.
Yeah.
The plum.
Love bar, LOVV bar. Lots of Celtic war. Just
Inish.
just got thrown into some Celtic war.
Yeah.
That sucks. MTG Mana Drama
Magic the Gathering, man. Okay.
got me answered with a video game.
Oh,
Played Phantom Doctrine, so all of a sudden became a CIA during the Cold War. CIA
Oh,
agent
cool.
during
Again,
the
that's
Cold War.
cool
So that's a
stuff.
sweet one. Yeah,
We learned about the
I-
Cold War in our Watergate episode.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
2 new meeples. This is one you'll have to guess.
Cold War?
Lots
Yeah,
of
Twilight
dead
Zone.
people with numbers on their chests buried in a giant book.
Lots of dead people with numbers on their chests.
Yep, buried in a giant book. So that's what 2 new meeple
With
sees
number
while
on
looking
their
around.
Chest.
Is it Mysterium?
I've not played this game. Village.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Village for sure.
That'd
Yeah.
be weird to see. Just like
Yeah. Yeah. What?
yeah.
Right. Ugh. Especially if you know the theme, you're like, I'm going to die soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I better
Ben
take
from
any
Date
action.
Night Dice is he's at like he's in a good one. He's at one of those sushi conveyor belt restaurants.
Awesome.
He's eating some sushi. It's
I've
great.
always wanted to go to those. Do they have those in Michigan?
I don't know. I want to go. Let's go.
I want to go to one of those so bad. It's just like,
Just like boop. You just
It-
like pick them off the thing. Just
Oh,
like
you just pick it up.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah,
keeps
it's like going around.
yeah, I
Yeah,
always
like,
picture
what?
like I'm at the end of it, my mouth's open.
like
It just goes into your mouth.
Meeple Lane just says life is pretty gloomy.
Oh, Gloom
Gloom.
or Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven, yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, that was it. That
That's
was
awesome.
where
That's
people are
funny.
getting transported to.
that's pretty cool.
Did you do one?
I like that we were all pirates together. I just said
Yes.
I'm Annie, the orphan.
The
pirate,
orphan pirate.
Oh, right.
and I stuff things inside of a beep.
Oh, right. Was that the first one?
Nope.
Oh, he didn't say it.
Nope. Natalie desperately
just
wants
now.
to know what the first one was.
I missed it.
You're
Oh.
reading, and she's like,
Um,
"What's the first one?" I'm like,
Okay, that's what she was
"Wait,
talking about. I'm like, what's she doing? Okay, the
Yeah.
first one was Michael Vinoy was in a village
Oh.
where special powered people tried to kill werewolves.
I heard the first one.
Mhm.
Okay, I
Oh.
must have missed your intro. Sorry.
It's all
We
for
talked
nothing.
about ours. I talked about being Bob,
Yeah.
Oh,
the
gotcha.
gold
Yeah.
coat
Okay.
pirate or something. So yeah, that was the inbox. Just
Mhm.
fun to talk to people. It was cool because I got to then talk to 20-some people about what they've been
Yeah,
playing.
that's a
and-
funny topic.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was super cool.
Mhm.
Love that stuff. Can't wait to have more of that. All
Yeah.
right. Now that you've all had a chance to get yourselves onto my show, let's bring it back with a bit of narrative delight. You're going to hear a story now called The Designing Princess. And peppered
Ooh.
throughout the story will be words/phrases sent to me by some hilarious listeners out there. Yes, we did a Mad Lib. So Natalie's going to go ahead and read this Mad Lib for us. So basically, I wrote this story out, and I sent. I just handpicked a few people who are listeners to the show on Instagram that we interact with on Instagram a lot, handpicked them, went after them and said, hey, can you help me out? We're doing a Mad Lib and I want your input. I got to tell you, every single one of them, I wasn't even reading the narrative I wrote. I'm just reading the words they sent, and I was dying of laughter. I was laughing so hard
every time he received an email.
You know how when you by the time Ben from Date Night Dice is one of them. I was just gonna say, but his came through last. By the time I got to his, I was in physical pain from laughing at some of these words they sent. So, all right. So if you don't know what Mad Libs are, I'm to understand because one of the people that I went and asked for help from was from the UK. And this person told me they didn't know what Mad Libs were. And apparently it's an American thing.
Oh.
So if you don't know Mad Libs, what Mad Libs is, it's basically a story. And then throughout the story, there's nouns, adjectives, verbs, descriptive words that are removed from the story. And the game is you put those words in. So like, you don't know the story, and I would say to Jeff, give me a noun, give me a verb, give me an adjective. He just writes whatever word he wants. He has no idea what the story is, and then I take the words he gives me and insert them when the story tells me to put a noun in. So it creates these goofy, silly, things. It's really a kid's thing. You do it when you're younger, but it's hilarious. Natalie and I love doing Mad Libs. We do these a lot. We had this Star Wars one that we did, and it turned out really funny. Yeah. Anyway, we did this on the show one time too. If you guys remember this, we did this.
Yeah, remember Jeff?
Yeah,
where I can't figure out what like an adverb was. I was like,
yeah, right.
Google.
So I loved that. I felt that it was a little too short, so I made my story a little bit longer. And
he asked for 36 words.
We got 36 words from each of these 7 people that I reached out to. Every single one of them, the words are amazing. It was the hardest thing for me was to pick. So I put them all in this Excel sheet matrix for all their words. And so I'm going through, I'm like on the first thing, I'm like, okay, which one of these words do I choose? They're all so freaking awesome. So please, if you submitted words to me, don't feel offended if I didn't pick your word. I promise you they were great.
There's some of everybody.
There's some of everybody. Some of everybody is in here. So you guys, people that did not participate and who are just listening to this, you're still going to know what words are.
Yeah.
So it's great. Natalie has not seen this before. She doesn't know what she's about to read. Jeff has not heard this before. He doesn't know what he's about to hear. Nope. And all of you, here we go. This is The Designing Princess. Natalie, can you read that?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Once upon a time, in the land of Shady Acres Retirement Home, there lived a mystical princess named Clee Torres. Clee was kind of a horny princess and always found herself wanting more out of life than just living in a castle and eating narwhals all day. One day in her youth, she wandered on down to the public bathroom to find her servants gathered around a table playing Glory to Rome. Her eyes widened with perversion at the sight of this game. The next day, she told the king and queen what she had found, but they just scoffed and told her to resume her princessly duties of riding her Spanish Spanglers and stacking dolphins on her head while she walked. She obeyed them, but for the next several weeks, she would constantly sneak on down to the public bathroom to see what new game they were playing. One night, she mustered up the DeLorean and decided that she was going to join in. She didn't want to come empty-handed, so she went to the castle stores and grabbed some baked beans and very rare India Pale Ale.
That's what you need for a party? Yeah. All right, I can't come empty-handed. I need some baked beans. Yeah, let's get some baked beans. That's what people like.
When she got to the public bathroom, she found there were 99,999 people all gathered around, multiple tables hooting and hollering and hammering all over the place. She was filled with so many emotions and just couldn't contain herself. She let out a yoink and a yeet, and everyone stopped and stared at her. The princess! Quick, put everything away! I'm so sorry, Your Highness. We were working, I promise. No, said Clitoris. I've been watching you play for weeks. I demand to sit in on a game.
You gotta say it like this. Shit,
said Gorgeous George, the lord of the diaper pail. Pull up a chair, we'll teach you. So the princess played on and into the night, learning everything from find the pickle to Russian roulette and loving it all.
Find the pickle.
I like that. That's the scale from find the pickle to Russian roulette.
Yep, anything and everything in between.
She was drunk with happiness and in a moment of weakness leaned over and dry humped Gorgeous George right on the nipples. The next morning, all she could think about was the game she had played with the servant staff. All of her princessly duties seemed so moist now in comparison. And the princess now knew what she truly wanted out of life. She wanted to be a game designer. She started right away, really wanting to caress the king and queen. She kept it secret for a while until she had her first game completed. She wanted it to be a Kleenex box game with belly piercing and rock hard pus-filled mechanisms. It had to be 3.5 waiting for my wife to get ready's long. And the theme needed to be all about jizz. Wow.
Oh, what a game.
She spent months playtesting with the servants, and at first they were saying things like, "You sound exactly like your loser brother." But now it's nothing but things like, "Suck it." The game was entitled Hot Sloopy Pooty Doopy Smooge. She finally worked up the courage to show it to the king and queen. She trembled as she brought it before them. To her absolute sexual aggression, however, they were smug. They ended up selling their kingdom off to Voldemort and opened up
to the Voldemorts.
to the Voldemorts and opened up a
family.
game store called Bedtime Shitstorm, where they sold all of Clitoris's designs and everyone went bankrupt and lived unhappily ever after. They should have checked with the Gamecasters podcast to see that Hot Sloopy Pooty Doopy Smooge was on the board game Beatdown, which tanks every popular game. The end. That was really funny.
That was
funny.
you got. I'm telling you, when I was picking the words to put in here, and I was reading, like I'm reading this, and I'm like, okay. She wanted it to be a Kleenex box game with a belly piercing and rock hard pus-filled mechanisms. It had to be 3.5 waiting for my wife to get ready.
That was really funny.
And the theme needs to be all about jizz. All right. What theme hasn't been done yet? We got zombies.
Yeah, that's done.
We got
Crime gets done already.
Games.
Yep.
Yeah, we got Cthulhu. Has
Cthulhu
anyone done a really
Live.
good game about jizz?
I don't know. Have you heard of those?
I haven't seen a
been
good
any.
jizz game. I'm gonna make. What should we call this game? How about Hot Sloopy Pooty Doopy Smooch?
You like how Spanish
Who came
Spanglers
up with
made an
that?
appearance?
Yes,
All
I
right,
do.
so-
That's funny.
Hot Sloopy Pooty Doopy Smooch is a combination of so for that one I asked for a made up word that sounds like poop.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's what
somebody
that's what I
said.
wanted for the title of the game. And so no, this is a combination of like 4 peoples.
Oh.
So I think one person said doopy, one person said smooge, and then one person said sloopy pooty. And so
That's
I
funny.
combined them all to hot sloopy pooty doopy smooge. Because it's really hot sloopy pooty and then colon doopy smooge. So doopy smooge
So
is
it's like
you
the
know what I
Doopy
mean?
Smooge version of the
The doopy smooge,
yeah.
exactly. The doopy
Got
smooge
it.
version of hot sloopy pooty.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for submitting those. We're gonna do more of those for sure. That was so much fun for me to put that together.
Yeah, maybe we can get some more. We'll reach out to some more people.
Absolutely, we're gonna reach out to some more people. They each sent me 36 responses. One person, the most I used from one person was only 9.
Mm.
That was the most.
You have a lot more words.
So there's a
you
ton
could
more words
use.
I can do for later stuff too. Okay, so we've had a lot of joy so far in this episode. How's about we bring it down a few notches and just flat out hate on some poor defenseless game in this
Yeah.
episode's board game beatdown. Hot Sloopy Pooty.
Booty.
Games about jizz.
Jizz game. God, a theme of jizz. I always want to see the components of that game. It just
Yeah.
must be.
My other favorite part was when,
Clitoris,
in a moment
that's
of
my
weakness,
favorite.
Yeah.
she leaned over and dry humped Gorgeous George right on the nipple.
Right in the nipple. Yeah, the clitoris is really funny. It was like the
Yeah,
queen,
clitoris.
princess clitoris. It's great.
That's hilarious.
These people are so funny. What you mean, you people? Okay, board game beatdown. Let's hear it, Natalie.
All right. So today It's funny, in the intro of the episode today, you said that we're going to beat down someone's favorite game. Well, today we're going to beat down your favorite game. Star Wars
Yes.
Destiny.
Goodbye.
It's happening. Yes. Come back. All right, Natalie.
You don't have any pants on.
He's squatting to sit back.
Okay. Well, I'm not nude, but
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I have boxer briefs on.
Okay, so you'll be happy to
I'm
hear.
not going to be able to take this.
This is one of
This is not gonna
the.
work.
I couldn't find more than 10 good ones.
Damn straight you
so
couldn't, because it's the
if
best
that
game of
makes
all
you
time.
feel better. It's a shorter one.
Wait, that's not a sentence you want to say to your soon-to-be husband. Makes you feel better. It's a shorter one. That doesn't
At
make
least
me
she's
feel
okay.
better.
At least she's okay with a shorter one.
That's
He's
true.
fine.
That's true. I am lucky. Is that why you cry yourself to sleep every night?
Dave, don't make
In
me
her bed?
comment on this.
Yeah.
No,
What does that mean?
it would be
Fix
okay.
this. Fix this.
No, don't fix it.
You have to fold it in half before I put it in.
No, it's great. It's
Oh,
great.
come on.
It's perfect.
That wasn't fixing anything.
I'm sorry. It was for me. We're not getting on the
Oh, this
dice
is
tower now.
uncomfortable.
No, it's not family friendly. Don't care.
Nope. Let's lean
It's
into
more
it.
fun this way.
Hardcore.
All right. Clumsy Dad says about Star Wars Destiny.
Stupid ass clumsy dad.
Why is this game ranked so high? Come
Because
on,
it's awesome.
come on, let's be realistic. And I'm sorry, but The Last Jedi wasn't so hot either.
Okay, I agree with you.
Or for the game and the movies.
No. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Emperor Mark says, wait, this game has deck building random and dice rolling even more random. And it's a CCG. LOL, even Star Wars can't overcome the horrific combination of 3 of the potentially worst gaming mechanisms out there. Oh, and it has a heavy emphasis on the crappy Disney Star Wars. Hard fail.
Wow.
That guy's middle name is Hot Sloopy Doopy Smooth.
the old dupe smooge.
Doop Smooge.
Mad Stranger says,
Ah, this is
That wasn't me.
right. The dice are pretty, and that is it. Random fiesta of randomness, both in the form of dice and the deck. Sure, it might be controlled somehow, but why even bother play this game?
Because it's fun, you stupid idiot.
Ryan's head's gonna explode.
I know.
How many games do you play that are not random? What's that guy's name? Doopy Smooge?
Q Brown says, this game is a sham. I had to drop so much money to be able to play a regular game, I completely lost my desire to even play it. Now it just sits on my shelf glaring at me. I glare back.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can't. You. How much money have you spent? Well, let's not say it out loud. But
Yeah.
that
It
game
starts with a THO.
Yeah.
That's how much money I've spent.
Yes.
However,
Have you really?
I just played it 4 times
On TTS
on
for free.
TTS
On,
with Dave.
yeah.
With Dave. Well, I did bring out the decks over there for me and Natalie
That
to
he
play
couldn't find
FTF.
because they were in storage.
Shut your hot ass mouth, you sexy little,
You doopy smooge. mouth.
you little doopy smooge. I'm gonna theme all over
Better
your
not dry
face.
hump my nipples later.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Did you hear what I said about theming on your face?
Yes.
Okay,
Anyways.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna cut that.
Bob
That's a little-
Dole 04126623. This game appeared to have way too much luck for my liking. I felt a lot like a hamster on a wheel. Maybe the luck can be mitigated by customizing your own deck to really
not sucking.
pawn some noobs.
You don't suck. Pwn. It's pwn.
Oh, pawn. I was like, I don't know what
Pawn.
PWN
You pawn
means.
them.
Yeah.
It
pawn
says
'em up.
PWN.
Yeah,
Hey, would you like a noob? I'd like to pawn this noob.
No,
for
it's
one of those.
Here's your pawn. Give me the noob. If you go into this game not realizing that there's luck involved, then you're just a doopy smooge. You're a spangler. And we all know what spangler means. Well, me and Jeff and Natalie do. And Miss French Toast know what
Same.
spangler means.
Tiny Clanger says, I've got 2 starter sets because they were both on sale last year. I'm really not a fan of the collectible business model. It seems that it's designed to prey on the weak-willed like myself. Buying packs without knowing the contents just seems like a form of gambling, whilst buying individual cards from resellers is basically pay to win.
I don't
Neither
do that.
option is appealing. Luckily for my wallet, the game is rather awful.
I was with you. I was with you until the end because all that CCG stuff I completely
It's very
understand.
true. I agree with
it
all
costs
that
an arm
stuff.
and a leg. That's the worst part about it. But you don't buy their individual cards. That's for idiots like me who just need to have everything. Just buy a couple, booster boxes, and then you're good to go for life. But the game is good. Ah!
Domus Ludro.
Domus arigato,
Ladorum?
Mr. Robot.
The collectability aspect and what and how you have to buy to construct a deck is vomit worthy.
Blech.
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 Worker placement says the worker placement in this game is terrible.
Oh, you kind of ruined it.
Yes.
That was
Damn
great.
it.
That was great.
Yeah.
Sorry. Madden Man says, from 8 stars to 1, what a waste of investment and money.
Wow.
Why? Let's hear why. Madden Men.
Well, he wasted money. Every $100 he had to spend, he had to drop the star
drop
rating.
down. And last is Pop Tech. They said, horrible box cover to appease the social justice warriors. I have not met a single person who wants to play a game as the feminist fantasy Mary Sue
Oh, for
or
crying out
emo
loud.
Darth Vader.
All right.
The dice do not look good either. I'll stick to Dice Masters.
You're going to really complain about a woman being on the cover of the box and say that because the woman's on the cover of the box that these people are social justice warriors? A woman can't beat the living snot out of you? Is that what you're saying? You stupid son of a... You doopy smooge? I will bet... You can't even talk to this woman, you neck-bearded freak. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Who's on the front of it? Is it Ray? Who's on the front?
Well, okay, there's like a million different boxes.
Yeah, there's like different.
Oh.
So
okay.
Ray is what was one of the starting characters. God, this is
is emo
taking
Darth
me into
Vader
spots.
the new or is that
emo
Kylo Ren?
Darth Vader is Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, he's kind of emo Darth Vader. Sorry guys, I want to look crazy. We'll see what I cut out because that's
All right.
Yeah,
Few
I wanna-
deep breaths.
I apologize for anyone I offended, but I mean, come on.
Sorry.
Okay.
Deep breath. Next.
So, last episode's game was so much fun. I thought we'd try it again. I need something that I'm not participating in here, so this is going to
You
be
he
it.
needs to calm down.
All right.
Yeah, you need
In
to
the
cool
corner.
If
off.
you don't know the game because you didn't listen to the last episode, go ahead and
Shame
listen
on
real
you.
quick. We'll wait.
Yeah, go stream it.
We'll wait. You got a couple hours just in here?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now that we're all on the same page, I'll explain it anyway. Haha, I just wanted the extra download.
Oh
So,
my god.
this is a cooperative game where Natalie will have a certain amount of time to get Jeff to guess as many games as he can. She's allowed to say absolutely anything other than the name of the game. Before I stipulated that you couldn't say the designer or the publisher, but that's stupid.
Again? Okay.
Unless you're like some crazy Rain Man
I probably
now
still
with
don't.
designers and you
Yeah.
get Jeff to guess every game.
It'd be
based on the
very
designer.
rare if I didn't know it.
Yeah, no more rules like that. Just say whatever you want other than anything that's the name of the game. All right. So we're going to do 41 games because this is our 41th episode. And I'll go
We'll
a
get through 20 of them.
bit easier on you this time and set the timer to 4 minutes. You had
Ooh, an
3.5
extra 30
minutes.
seconds.
Yeah, extra 30 seconds.
Did you take the games we didn't get from last time and put them on
Yeah,
the
there
list?
was like 12 at the
Yeah.
bottom of that list. I did that, and then I just went and got more. So, are you guys ready? As soon as you're ready, I will start the timer.
Ready.
And we can. Are you sure? You got to rattle these biatches off.
Okay. Yeah,
You got
let's
it?
go. Let's just do it.
And go.
This is a game about birds and eggs.
Wingspan.
Yes. This is a game that has those player boards. What are they called? Okay, skip.
What?
Skip again.
Oh, boy.
Gambling and dice.
Lords of Vegas.
No, but another one like that.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. This we got from Gen Con, and you have to like make words, but you don't know what your word is. You're like guessing.
Letter
what-
Jam.
This one has some rocks, black and white rocks, and it has
Go.
a rope too.
Oh, Shobu.
Yeah. This is kind of like Exit, but it's the other one.
Unlock.
Yeah. This is the detective-y game that we have with
Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah. Okay. This is the one with the monster, rawr, and you destroys everything.
Cthulhu, Death May Die. Rampage.
Yeah.
All right.
Rampage. This is next. This one is did we get this at Gen Con? No, we didn't get. You got it for free, and it's got like little
Tasty Humans.
Ooh,
Mechanica.
One word yeah, you got it.
All right.
what? Oh, you
Said
got it.
Mechanica.
Okay.
Puzzle pieces was all you were looking for.
Number one game.
Gloomhaven.
It's tile laying game that I don't really like, and it has like farms and it has like paths and stuff, and it's very like an introductory game to games. And
Pass. Carcassonne.
yes. Okay. Throwing dice in an arena.
Strike.
Yes.
Happy Salmon.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't. On the video, she was just wiggling her arm back and forth.
This is one. It's a trick-taking game where you can like modify the cards by
Custom
putting them in
Heroes.
sleeves. Yes. Oh, this is the one we just got with with air blowing little balls in the air.
Playing Sushi Kitchen.
Yeah. This is one with kings and queens and knights and
Chess.
yeah.
2 minutes.
This is the one we played the other night virtually.
Forgotten Waters.
Yes. This is when you just you asked if you should buy it because it was $30.
Oh, Wendake.
Yeah. This is a Uwe Rosenberg game that it's about beans.
Bonanza.
Yeah. This is
Jim
one
Bean.
we played at Dave's house and you guys love it. It's like a detective-y game that's really long.
Detective.
Yeah. No. It's very famous.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Consulting detective.
This is one about eating people and it has
Tasty
like
humans?
Yeah. Okay. This is
Delicious.
the first game I played with Ryan and it has
Splendor.
Yeah.
You must say Jeff's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one it's super super awesome. Dang it.
It's not gonna do anything.
I know. Next. Okay. This is like a party game where you have to you play like 3 rounds and there's charades in it and they're saying one
monikers.
word. Yes. This is a game
3 minutes.
where everybody like writes on a whiteboard
Left.
and then you have to like guess what
Just
it
one.
is. Yes. And this is one the next.
Ooh, wow.
Building blocks with eyes blindfolded and
Oh,
you
Team
know,
3.
Yes. Next.
Oh.
Wine game. By
Viticulture.
no, the other one.
Vinos.
Yes. Okay, the one you just said, the wine game.
Viticulture.
Yeah. The trick taking game Ryan and I just played and we just talked about.
The Crew.
Yeah. The cooperative game and it's like about saving the earth from smog.
CO2.
Yeah. Penguin game.
20 seconds.
Hey, that's my fish.
No, it's like penguins and you like flick them around.
Oh, Ice Cool.
Yeah. This
15 seconds.
next. This is about the tiles with like the pretty tiles and the
Sagrada.
5 seconds.
Azul.
yeah.
5 seconds. 3 seconds.
Time. Okay.
That was good. I thought we did pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I felt
You
like
did
that was a lot.
great.
Yeah.
This one
What
you
was-
should have said blue. What if she said blue?
Oh dang it! I
Oh,
always
yeah.
forgot that. I forget that.
What
Oh,
was
you said you got Azul, didn't you?
I got Azul right at the end.
Not,
What
like,
was
took
the
a
one
long
that's
time.
super awesome? What was that?
Max versus Minions.
Oh,
I know she said that. I'm like, that's not gonna help him at
Right at
all.
the tip of my
I
tongue.
know. I just couldn't think of like.
So
something
you
to say.
missed the very second game that you talked about player boards. There's
Dynamic.
no-
I couldn't think of the word
It
dynamic.
does not have
Yeah, what
player
was that?
boards.
Oh yeah.
Belfort doesn't have player boards.
Belfort.
Belfort
That's
has
area
the pie
control.
slices.
Yeah.
The pie
Belfort's got the pie
slices.
slices. And then you missed. She skipped Keyflower.
Okay.
She skipped Kingsburg. She skipped Mechs versus Minions. She skipped Insider. I was surprised about that one. She
Oh, yeah,
skipped
you were
Cthulhu
like,
Death May
oh,
Die.
yeah.
And she skipped Root. So you
Okay.
guys got, so it's a 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. You guys got 30.
30. Wow.
That's good.
Wow.
That was better than last time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was better than last time.
Second.
It was.
Fantastic. You did it.
Yeah,
I
good
was
job,
worried
Natalie.
about
Those were good.
you.
Thanks.
Natalie was on Mechanica.
Oh,
You
yeah.
were like, you said like 100 words, and he still got it.
I don't know how he got it because I was like, what am I even saying here? I
You
don't
were
know.
like, Gen Con. Did we get it at Gen Con?
That actually helped because
did it really?
it was because you wanted it at Gen Con.
yeah,
And then
we
when
ordered
you
it
said
at
I got
Gen
it.
Con.
I
that's what
pre-ordered
was.
it there, yeah.
And then when you said that, they sent it to me to.
I could
to
not think of
review or
like how to
whatever.
like say anything about the game.
That was great. Good job, you guys. You did
Good
it.
job.
I like listening to that one. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So, in this episode's top 5, we are doing a very difficult list for me. This is 5 tile placement games. I didn't realize just how many tile placement games I owned, but it's damn near 50. And I have to pare it down to 5.
Yeah, why don't
Somehow.
we just do a top 28?
Yeah, right.
28.
Right. I mean, what the hell? So, we are going to go Natalie, me, Jeff this time.
Okay.
All right. So this is our top
all right.
5 tile placement games. We will catch you on the flip. On the
Flip,
video,
flip,
it's not going to work.
flip,
that
Philadelphia.
way. All right. And we're back. All right. Like I said, Natalie, me, and Jeff. So, Natalie, when you are ready, hit us with your number 5 tile placement game.
Well, I didn't do top 5 again.
That's fine.
Really,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
just
Yeah,
5.
just 5.
Okay,
Yeah, just
that I
five.
like. My number 5 is an Uwe Rosenberg game that we played recently called Nova Luna.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So, like okay, I'm
didn't know
gonna
you
do a
liked
little
that
bit
game
of
that much.
Jeff.
Yeah, you
preamble,
should.
But like,
You can do a little bit of Jeff.
you know, like you said.
I can go to the bathroom if you want.
Sorry, that was weird.
How was that about?
Um,
That was cut out of the episode.
There was a lot of we looked up like tile laying games or tile placement games, but I tried to pick ones that was like the main part of the game, and it wasn't just like a tiny piece of the game.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that. So yeah, I picked Nova Luna because that's basically like almost all tile laying.
Sure is.
I thought that game.
We should play that again.
Yeah,
that was a fun game.
I thought it was fun.
That was a good little.
I was
what's
like,
Devin's word? Slinky doo.
Dink?
Winkly dink.
Piddly dink.
Piddly dink. Yeah, it was a little piddly dink.
It was because you know how I am. Like when we have the time tile laying games, I love them, but I suck at them. But this one isn't. You're not so much under pressure, so
Under pressure.
it feels a little more
For
doable
sure.
for
It is
me.
doable. That's a good one. I like that game a lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Number 5 for me is a game we played with Natalie for the first time. Jeff and I played it with Natalie, and I think Ben played it with us at Joe's 24-hour game-a-thon.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is a game that I love by Vlada Chvátil called Galaxy Trucker.
Good one.
So this is a fantastic game.
It
It was one of the first. It was in the first mass of games that I played when I got into the hobby. It's really fun, real time tile laying game. I could have picked Chaos Mosa or Nine Tiles Panic in this kind of slot.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going with Galaxy Trucker, and it's just really fun. So I love it. That's my number 5. Jeff, what about you?
Nice.
Good one. That's on my honorable mentions.
Nice.
I'm like audibling possibly
Do it.
because
Did I
I
just
wanna-
say? I just said games. Sorry.
What?
what?
I think I just stole his thunder.
Oh no. Those I'm gonna try to stick to some games we necessarily haven't talked about on the show.
like
at
those.
least that I haven't talked about.
Same.
So
Yeah, good idea.
I'm agree with Natalie that this needs to be the majority of the game. The game needs to
Mhm.
be placing tiles.
Right,
not-
like one of the things that said like Teotihuacan, and I'm like, what?
That has a
Yeah.
tile laying
Yeah.
element.
But like I
Right.
would never call that like a tile placement game.
right.
Yeah,
like, I have
that's
the same
not the
thing with
main mechanism.
yeah. I have the same thing with Black Angel. Like you're putting tiles on your
Yeah.
board, but I'm not calling that a tile placement game.
Right.
Yeah, if you did, just to be fair, if you did, I wouldn't.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
That's
I'm
just
not
how we
gonna
chose
begrudge
to
you. Yep.
choose
Yeah.
this list.
Yep.
I just went off
So-
feeling personally.
I'm gonna go with first of all, should we just never mind. I'll wait. I'm gonna go with a game called Quadropolis at number 5.
Great
oh,
game.
Good.
Quadropolis Days of Wonder. I love Quadropolis. I think the
Yeah.
expansion is great for it. And you're taking these tiles, you're putting them on your own city, and it's important where you put the tiles because they score differently. It's one of my favorite games and one of my favorite tile laying games. So that
Wow.
That is a fun
every
game.
time I play it, I have fun. Like
it's
every
good.
time I'm like, this is good, this is good.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at it, which makes it even better that I like it so much because I don't.
Yeah.
do
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Then you know it's a good
Cool.
game.
That's an awesome one.
Yeah.
Days of Wonder Quadropolis. Natalie, what's number 4?
My number 4 is Scarabia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Good one.
I mean, it's one of those you might consider this a piddly dink game, but I still think it's really fun the way that you have to fit the polyomino pieces in the space and try to like maximize points by covering up little beetles, and I just think it's a fun little game.
Me too.
That has tile placement in it.
I know
Yep,
me and
it
you
sure does.
like it more than I think Ryan likes it. But
Yeah, I don't dislike it. I think it's good, not great.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
good.
it because again, it plays in 15 or 20 minutes. My
Mhm.
students like it a lot. They've played it a bunch.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good one.
Number 4 for me is I'm putting 2 games in the same slot because they're essentially the same game and they scratch the same itch for me. And it's Yellow and Yangtze / Tigris and Euphrates. We talked about Yellow and Yangtze not too long ago on
Yeah,
the
I
show.
saw that on the list when I was looking for mine, and I was like, not putting that one. Damn, Ryan.
That was so funny. That picture that we posted with Andrew and Cheyenne.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic game. I think Reiner Knizia is best of all the games of his that I've played, and it's just super fun. And the entire game is you're placing tiles. So that is
Yeah.
my number 4.
Nice.
My
Very
number
much.
4 goes along with another city building game. It's a game called Between Two Cities.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Between Two Cities is Stonemeyer game. And
Between two cities.
it plays 3 to 8 and it plays in the exact same amount of time, 3 to 8. It has a very similar to Seven Wonders where you can play Seven Wonders with 2 or with 7 in about the same amount of time. And it's cool because you're drafting these tiles and you're building 2 cities, one on each side of you with the person next to you.
Mhm.
You're building these 2 cities and you score them differently, and whichever one is your lowest one is your actual
Yeah. that's
point
cool.
total. It's a cool game. It is again a tile placement. That's the entire game, is building a city out of tiles.
I like that game a lot. It's a good one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's fun.
Awesome. Natalie, what about number 3?
My number 3, I picked Stefan Feld's Carpe Diem.
It's on my
Ooh.
honorable mention.
Is it?
Yeah, I figured that was going to be on your
Yeah,
list.
I really like that game.
That's such a cool game. Tell us why.
Well,
I didn't think I was going to have to do that.
Right. I mean, it's just a fun. You're building like these little gardens with tiles, and you're trying to connect like flower types, and you're trying to put them in places that maximize points on your board. And I just think it's one of my favorite games by him, and we've played it a bunch of times, and it's a keeper. So that's why
Yeah, I've
put
only
on
played
my
it
list.
once. Ryan beat the Moses out of me, I think.
I
Yeah,
don't remember that.
It was good. I liked it when I played it the one time. It was good.
That's a fun one. Yeah, it definitely scratches that. If you like tile placement games, that's a good one,
Mhm.
I think. Number 3 for me is a game that we've played a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and it's called Sorcerer City. This one's really fun. It's another real-time tile placement game. What the hell is that
Is
noise?
he howling?
Is that a dog? So we put our dogs upstairs because they
Oh.
bark like crazy.
I'm pretty sure he
yeah.
was just howling. I've never heard that come from upstairs before. I was like, is there a wolf in the house?
No one's howling on my end, so it's
That's
not.
good. Okay, it's definitely us. Oh,
Sorry, Ryan.
hopefully they're not killing each other up there. All right. So anyway, number 3, Sorcerer City for me. It's another real-time tile laying game. This one's really cool because I like the theme a lot. You're fighting against you're putting monsters in your tile stack, which is kind of like a deck building kind of thing. You're buying more tiles to put in your deck stack, which is kind of like a deck builder type game. And then you're frantically putting these tiles out on your turn to maximize the most points. And it's really, really fun, and it's got this cool visceral feeling to it. And so if you like tile laying games, if you like the real-time tile laying games, which I do, then Sorcerer City is a fantastic option. So that's my number 3.
Nice.
Sorcerer
Good
City.
game.
Jeff, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a nice little family game called Takanoko.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Takanoko is a great gateway game, I think. And it's very like family friendly, and you're taking these tiles off this stack and you're building this, I don't want to call it a city. You're building this area where you're growing bamboo and the panda is eating bamboo.
Yeah,
it's
say,
super
is that the
light.
panda one?
There was a thing recently on Instagram where people were trying to stack up the bamboo pieces as tall as they could possibly go with them, tip over. So that was really funny. I wonder if Jim Gamer started that. But it was really funny to see how high people were getting them to stack. But that's a very cool, light tile placing game that I think works really well with families, and it's got a cute little panda in it. So what more could you ask for?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Natalie, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Sorcerer City.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really like this game. It's kind of like the hot tile laying game for us right now.
I thought it was going to
You
be on
know,
your list. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been. Yeah.
It was the first game for whatever reason when I decided, hey, let's do this tile laying game. That was the first game that came to my mind.
Yeah, same here.
It's just really exciting. Someone's tiling at Jeff's house now.
No.
You hear the dog?
I knew you guys would have put that. I knew you guys were.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
For
It's
sure.
a very
Yeah.
good game.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me is a game I haven't played in a while, and I really, really want to, and I love this. And we talked about it a little bit briefly earlier on the show. It's by Kiesling and Kramer, and it's called The Palaces of Carrara. So
Haven't
in this
played
game, you
that.
got this like resource wheel type thing, which is what you think of normally when you think of this game. But the game at its heart is a tile placement game, because
Yep.
these resources you're spending them on tiles to place them at certain spots in your player board. And the cool thing is, depending on where you place them, it depends on how you either score points or collect income. And it's all dependent on, what resources you spend, lets you put them out on what spot you put them out on. And the game is so cool because you score kind of, I wouldn't say it's like at the Gates of Loyang, but you choose when you score. And you can score 3 times or so. I think it's 3 times, maybe 5 times throughout the game in different ways. So you want to place your tiles in such a way that they maximize your points and money, because at the heart of the game, it's a race. And so we talked about it earlier, how Jeff, the first time we played this, Jeff won by over 100 points because you have objectives you have to complete to get to the end. And you have to constantly look at your opponents to find, okay, Jeff's got those tiles there. Natalie's got those tiles here. I have these tiles here. Oh my God, Jeff could potentially end the game next turn. And I am spending all my time building this engine. But if Jeff ends the game before I'm able to run my engine, that's how he wins by 100 more points. You know what I mean? So it's really, really fun. And it's an awesome tile placement game. Again, by Kiesling and Kramer. It's called The Palaces of Carrara. That's my number 2. So Jeff, what is your number 2?
I want to play Palace of Kra again soon.
Yeah, I haven't played
It's
that.
We
so
played it
in
maybe.
so long.
I think I played it maybe twice.
Okay.
Because I loved it twice.
It's
two
so
times
good,
we
man.
played it. It's really good.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
my number 2, and this might be a borderline tile placement, so you have to.
It's all good.
I can sub it in with something, but
No,
this game is from 1999 called Torres.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Oh my god, it's like all you're doing.
So yeah,
they're
so
not
Torres, it's
tiles,
not
they're like plastic
tiles.
little things, but no, the mechanism is tile placement.
Yeah,
for sure.
I did look this up. This won the 2000 Spiel des Jahres, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're placing these tiles.
Wait, is this another Kiesling and Kramer?
Ooh.
Who designed Torres?
It is. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so.
You're right.
It's kind of one of the mask games. It's not. It's like an unofficial mask game, which is Java and
The
what are
C
the
one,
other-
right?
there's 3 of them. There's like
What's a mask game?
so Kiesling and Kramer designed these games, and they have masks on the cover of the
Okay.
game. And so yeah, one of them was Java. One of them was I don't know why.
Is it like Cuzco or
Mexica.
something?
Well,
Yeah.
Cusco I think is now is like the reprint of Java.
Oh
or
yeah,
Mexica.
you're right.
It's
Yeah.
like Java, Mexica, and then the more famous one. But then Torres doesn't have a
Yeah.
mask on it, but it's like an unofficial
Oh, okay.
next
And-
game.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah,
line.
and what it is, if you haven't played it, it's so the tiles are tiny little like
castle
buildings,
section.
castle section.
Yeah, like
And so
squares.
as you play those, you play them around the board, and then you have these cards that you're playing that tells you how you can move in that round, and you're essentially trying to get your little pawns in certain placements around the board, whether it's up or on certain spots on the board to then score for that individual round. So it's a very like abstract game. Some cards let you move like through the castle. Some let you go onto like a certain level of the castle, and you can only move down or up a certain spot. You can use like some cool special powers. It's very abstract. It is very cool looking once you get the board going, and there's like different sections, kind of like a
Mhm.
picture Santorini sort of, where you have
Oh,
like different
yeah.
kind of levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a cool game
It's
called
so
Torres.
good. The other
Yeah.
game I couldn't think of, by the way, was Tikal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
Tikal, Java, and Mexico, and then Torres.
Okay.
Torres is awesome. That's a great
so that was
choice.
Torres.
Yeah, I forgot
Thanks.
about that game. I love that one. Natalie, we have come to the number 1.
Number 1.
What is your number 1?
My number 1 is Akrotiri. It's a game that at first I started out not liking it, and then I ended up loving it.
Did you really? You didn't like it the first time?
No, remember we went to Traverse City and we played it?
I remember I didn't have a good play.
No, that was
play.
in
Or that was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently we only play this when
The
we
game
travel.
is so fun. That's a really
it's a
good
really
game.
fun game.
It's a 2-player only game,
Yeah.
right? 2-player only.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
super
from
fun.
the designers of Belfort, Jay and
Oh.
Sen.
And you're like,
it's
yeah,
super
you're placing the tiles and you're trying to like fulfill these objective cards based on where you place tiles. Kind of like every other tiling game.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But
very
yeah,
good.
it's really fun and it's yeah.
My number 1 is we talked about it earlier in the game. Natalie got Jeff to guess it. It is one of the it's really the game that got me super excited about this hobby, and it's called Carcassonne. Yeah, what can be said that hasn't been said about Carcassonne? I mean, it is like the quintessential tile placement game. Super fun, love it. That's it. My number 1, Carcassonne. Go get Carcassonne. If you haven't played Carcassonne, you should play it. Right?
That's
You
what I
should
was gonna
play
say
that game.
earlier when I was like, should we just mention Carcassonne as being the tile placement
Yeah.
game? But I was like,
Yeah.
if Ryan might say it.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
yeah. Oh, it's the tile placement game.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah,
game, and
right.
and yeah, for it to be that gateway game, probably for so many people that got into the hobby. If you got into the hobby before it turned into kind of what it is now, you played Carcassonne.
Yep.
That
Sure.
was it. Carcassonne.
Sure.
Carcassonne is on my list. I didn't want to say it because I thought I was hoping that you were going to say it. So my number 1 is a game that is made by Natalie's boy.
Oh,
Which one?
Game
yeah,
is
it's called
called
Cell Condom.
No, that's your
No.
boy. Wait.
No, this game is called Isle of
Oh,
Sky.
Fister.
Yeah.
Fister.
Barely know her. Yeah, so this game is called Isle of Sky, and I love Isle of Sky. Every play I've had is just so fun. There's some great tiling to it. You're building your own city. There's a very cool auction mechanic, which I don't know if Natalie would love, but the auction's great where you're buying other people's tiles, but if you price them too high, you have to essentially spend your own money on it, and you're building the city. And what I love about it is it's really variable. The rounds score differently. There's maybe a dozen different tiles that you rotate out, and it's great.
Cool game.
And I know
Very cool game.
it's probably the lightest Fister game that he's made, but it's
There's
it's
a couple that are pretty light. Yeah, that one's. I'd say that one's kind of like Yeah, it's definitely lighter than Dead
It's a-
Bossa,
it's a
Great Western
mid-game
Trail,
overall.
Blackout Hong Kong, Maracaibo.
Dead
But
Bossa.
it's still
Yeah.
heavier than something like Oh My Goods or Port Royal. But that's a fantastic game. The first time I played it, I was like, I don't really like it. Sold it off. Played it again at Nerdfest like the next year, and I was like, this is so good.
Yeah,
Man, I was wrong
I
about
remember
this.
that
This is
play.
a great game. Yeah,
And it
so
plays 5, which is really good. And that's one.
cool.
You always look for those games that sometimes we play 4 or 5 on a game night, and 5 is tough to come by with a really good game.
Yep.
And that's a good one.
Cool.
Awesome.
You guys got any honorable mentions?
Yeah, like
I
40.
got yeah.
I went up to 10 just to not go crazy.
All right,
I'll
Natalie,
just
what do you
read through
got?
mine. Oh yeah, go ahead, Natalie.
I put Nine
Oh, sorry.
Tiles Panic,
No, it's
Cosmos, the
Yep. those are-
Tasty Humans.
Oh yeah, Tasty
Duh.
Humans, good one.
Like Castles of Burgundy, obviously, and Galaxy Trucker and Patchwork, pretty much.
Yeah,
made
Patchwork's
up
a good
mine.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one that hasn't been said that I have in my honorable mention because I have Chaosmos, Nine Tiles Panic, Carpe Diem, Akrotiri. The other one is Saikatsu.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Saikatsu was on mine as well. Patchwork was on mine as well. Galaxy Trucker was on mine. I have Keyflower.
I
as
thought you
being-
might say that one.
And yeah. Keyflower, even the King and Queen Domino games are very good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Number 9, those are tiles.
Oh
Yep,
yeah, yeah.
Yep, I
that's
thought
a good
about
one.
that too.
Even the very simple game of Suro is a great little tile placement game.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought of Planet, which we talked about last week, as
Oh,
being
yeah.
a very unique tile placement
Definitely
game.
unique.
For sure.
Yep. And then a game called Alhambra.
I kind of thought you might say that too.
Yeah, that
that's
was one that
another
was a
old school
borderline
game.
Yeah, and that's a great game too. Alhambra's good.
Who's got that? Bill's got that?
Eric had it,
Right. Eric,
and
that's
so I
right.
don't know if it's in the
Yeah.
group as much anymore. but-
Right. Yeah, that's a cool game. Sweet. So
Yeah.
that's going to do it for us tonight, everybody. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us on Instagram at Gamecasters or at Mad Board Gamer. Both those accounts serve as the podcast. We have a Facebook group. Just search Gamecasters and you'll find us there. You can also email us at thegamecasterspodcast@gmail.com. We've got that Baron BGG Guild we talked about and shamed Natalie about for the 20th episode in a row. If you'd like to head on over there, we are Guild 3678. If you like the show, we would love it if you consider giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen that allows you to rate us. All music for this and every episode was produced by Jeremy Pete. If you enjoyed it and want some of your own for your next project, please email us to discuss. So, for Natalie, Jeff, the Mad Board Gamer, I am Ryan, and you have been listening to The Gamecasters. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, stopping.